It is podcast time. All right. Well, we are just about to kick it off with the one and only Kenw1ck. This will be the Zilla Patch podcast, episode 24. We did, like I said, we did a podcast with Ken not long ago. Maybe 4 months ago or so, and we had a really, really good time. Really good chat, very, very powerful conversation, and I think all of you will very much enjoy this. I'm going to start up the call now. We'll get him on, and we'll see how it goes, shall we? Everybody welcome in Ken. Let's see if this works.
Hello.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Let's get this underway, shall we?
Let's do it.
Alrighty. All right, everyone in the chat is excited. They're ready to go. We've got Indigo and Koshi, the Mando. Sando's here as well.
Legends.
All the legends.
Legends. So you can see me, right? Because I can't see you just yet.
I can see you. I think this is going to be an issue because I think I need 2 cameras for you to see me. Hold on a second.
It's all good. If not, I could probably click on. Well, I should be clicking on it anyway. Hold on, let me click on the actual YouTube.
Yeah. So if you open up YouTube, you'll be able to see me. Look at these 2 good-looking people.
I see it. Here we go. This is so cool.
You having fun? Cool. Are you live as well?
Hey, there we go. Ooh, let me mute myself. Hold on. All right.
Awesome.
Oh, I see the chat to the right. Wow, this looks good. Look at you, man. Adam back in fucking action.
I was a bit nervous about YouTube because I'm not really sure about any of it because this is my first time ever going live on YouTube. So I thought I might give it a whirl and see how we go. And so far, look, the only complaint I have is the chat is delayed, and you can tell the chat's delayed. I think it's like a 5-second delay or so. It's not like an instant thing, you know what I mean? So like other platforms, you know, you'll have Twitch and you'll have whatever, and it'll come up literally straight away as soon as someone types it. But on this, I think it's a little bit delayed because there is like a profanity filter it goes through. So because there's moderation on this is very difficult, right? Or more difficult than most other platforms. It's quite easy on the other platforms. So I think what it does is it moderates for you, basically, to save problems, which is not terrible.
It's they're extra conservative, huh? You know,
that's fine.
We'll let them do what they gotta do. They're but hey, look, I think it's awesome that, you know, so you've tried Trovo, and now YouTube. Those are the only other platforms you've been on so far, right?
So far, I've got a few other ones I'm going to try as well. So there is obviously Facebook, which is so I want to start up a Facebook gaming page for the Zilla Patch as well. So I'm going to do that. Bro, it's going to be a busy time. I've also got a couple of other live options under my belt, other like Instagram and TikTok. And then on top of that, there is a new platform called Theta, right? Which is Theta, like the Roman numeral Theta, which is bringing on brand new like partnerships with bigger streamers or streamers that are out of other communities. So I put an application in and it looks pretty keen. So we'll see how that goes as well. So that could be a whole nother vibe. It's a brand new platform. So could lead the way on a brand new platform. We don't know yet. We will see. We'll just see how it goes.
you know, it it never ceases to amaze me. Like, look, I've had you pinned for a long time. The kind of person that you are, but it's still so fun seeing it in action. You know what I mean? Like what a lot of people would consider like a major, hurdle, adversity, setback. Sure, maybe it was whatever, an unexpected circumstance, but from an unexpected circumstance, now you opened all these doors of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, the community. Look, I know you guys in the community already know this, and this is why you love them. But I mean, think about that. That's a fucking great story in and of itself, right there. It inspires me. So when I tell you you inspire me, right? Even when you don't try, this is what I'm talking about. Like I think about this. I think about like, wow, like I've seen people get thwarted before, when they're trying to do something, especially when they're building, and then out of nowhere you get blindsided by an unexpected circumstance, and then it's a setback, and it's like, shit, man, I'm back, a year, 2 years now, and I just got to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
No, you said, all right, it is what it is. I'll take my licks like the best of them. But with this, rather than it being a setback, what are the doors of opportunity? And that's what you're doing, man. So kudos to you, bro. Kudos to you for fucking
Well, that's
taking this and
That's just the kind of
doing what.
the kind of person I am, because like what it is, right, is that, like I've said to you before, like I'm an all or nothing kind of person. Like I have to see, like when I was younger, I was really pessimistic, right? I was really like, look, if I got to do this way, and that's the only way I can do it. Like I always thought that way, because that's just the way I was. Like I find a job, I do that job. Like I don't look outside that job. Like I find an interest, I do that interest. I don't do more than one interest. I just do one interest. That's it. But now when I got older, I sort of like started to develop too many interests or too many jobs or too many things to do. And so I tried to, like, instead of being like, this is too hard, I'll do this. This is too hard, I'll do this. I tried to balance it and do everything, because I don't want to set, like, let that set me back on something else that I'm looking into. So it was like this whole experience that I've had, it came at a really weird time, because, I've been going through a lot of stuff personally. So as soon as this happened to me, it kind of was a wake up call to me a little bit, because, I was on a path of like self-destruction a little bit in the last sort of like couple of months. And I was kind of like in a really bad way, because, sometimes we go through some hard shit in life, and that's what happens, So I lost my way a little bit, and I thought to myself, how do I put myself back on track? Like how am I going to do this? But I wasn't thinking straight, because I was just poisoning myself every day. And I was really like having an issue with it, because I couldn't control it. Right. And that's just, addiction, it is what it is. Right. So I thought to myself, I got to turn this around, not just for myself, because what happened after everything that happened, I said to myself, I'm not going to turn this around for myself, not just me. It has to be for the community as well, because the reason I got through the last 16 months, was because of them. The reason I got through lockdowns and the reason I got through everything that's been going on is because I have the support of the people around me. And I don't take that for granted, because a lot of people need that support. I never thought I'd be someone who needed any support. I always thought to myself, I'm going to be someone who's strong enough to get through anything. But it's proven to me that I don't have to, right? And the people that come into this chat every day, or they come into this community every day, who, come to literally any platform I'm on every single day, no matter what time of day it is, that is something very, very special. And I'm gonna use that support and that energy of all the people in here, and not only is it going to benefit them, because we can go and do anything we want, and we can grow this and make it fucking the support network of the century, but it's also going to be good for me too, because we've created something very special, and I will not let one little bump in the road stop me from building that, because it's not just important for me, it's important for everyone. When I don't go live, a lot of people struggle. A lot of people call, they DM, whatever. They're like, where are you, man? I really want that conversation. I really want to come in and hang out with all these people. And, I'm really enjoying, I really love the community, and, what happened, People ask me what's going on. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
they rely on it now. And that's a great thing. And I'll never let that die no matter what happens. And that's why expansion is the next step, not to go and cry in a hole and fucking be miserable about it. Not to,
yeah, bro.
Not to take it like, take it as a loss and just sit here and think, what the fuck do I do now? No, you gotta push forward and try something different, because, this kind of thing could happen to anyone. It could happen to anyone. It could happen to the nicest person. It could happen to the most horrible person. Like, I've seen people say some fucked up shit and nothing happens, right? And I've also seen people get trolled like you wouldn't believe. And it's always the nicest people because they let it happen, right? Like
yeah. No,
yeah.
dude, so you've paved the way, bro. You've paved the way for anybody, because this has happened plenty of times before. And when like I've seen it, like and not just in the streaming industry, but in other industries, when arbitrarily somebody who maybe has a different perspective, or somebody who challenges a social norm, but has a society of people behind him or her that believe in it, but but the powers that be, for one reason or another, don't agree with it, and they just silence him, silence him, silence him. I'm not saying that that's what happened here, but in general, I feel like it was handled remarkably arbitrarily and carelessly.
Indeed.
And a lot of people in that situation, like we've already said, they kind of just, it's very discouraging. I mean, it's dude, to really to have to put in all of that work, like you said, all of those emotions, all of those conversations. Dude, I was thinking about this. Like when I first heard myself, dude, I had like a moment of silence to myself, because even though I'm not there every day, I'm there quite a bit, actually, just kind of lurking, just like how you are with me. We do it to each other.
Yeah.
We support, and we're there, we're both doing our own thing, but I'm there. But I also know about the large community behind it, and all I kept thinking was, what about all those people? Because me growing up, I I was often alone, you know, but I would often attach myself to certain causes, or certain, people that made me feel good, and that's what you are. Like, that's what you are. And I remember how important that was to me, and how I needed those outlets. And I thought about, so I put myself and I empathize, and I'm like I started feeling like a little bit of anxiety. That's why I reached out to you, and I was I didn't want to put pressure on you, but I was curious, what's going on, how you feeling, what's
Yeah.
I didn't want to say, hey, what are you gonna do, and all this other stuff. I wanted to, but I'm like, he's got this, let me just let
Yeah.
him know that I'm here, that I care, that I'm aware, and if you need anything whatsoever, I'm here, you know.
Yeah.
But you pave the way for anybody else who gets put in this situation. You've provided a playbook for how to handle it. That's the fucking beauty of it, dude. That's the beauty of people like us who get put in very adversarial situations, where it's like, whoa, 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 we look up to these guys. Well, why are you fucking bringing the house down on them? It's all
Yeah.
good. Let them. We have shoulders built for this shit, and that's
Yeah.
what you did, bro. You almost you've shown us that, hey guys, in the event of something like this happening, continue to be a hero, continue to push. This is what you do. Don't fall back and fold, like you said. Don't ever fall back and fold, especially if it's something that you believe in and something that you're growing. Rather, au contraire, continue to push forward. And that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You're to continue to push forward. You're trying these new things. You're reaching out to these new outlets. And I have a funny feeling, man, that in this process, you're going to see a world of opportunity that you wouldn't have seen had this not happened.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think the other thing I noticed, and this is a real good message for a lot of people who are in the chat, who are either streamers or content creators or whatever you might be, grow every platform. Don't just grow one platform. Don't put all your eggs in the one basket. I know that's like one of those sayings that people say and people laugh. I'm telling you right now, take it for real, because if you have... I've seen people who get big on one platform that might not be their main platform, but that grows their main platform. So if somebody comes in, is on Twitch, say, and has 35 followers, right? But they have 10,000 followers on Twitter, that 35 followers is going to turn to 1,000 followers in a month's time, okay? Because they will push those 10,000 people over to the other platform, you know? And if they have 5 people on YouTube, they still have those 10,000 on Twitter. Guess what? The YouTube's going to grow with it. So doesn't matter what platform you grow, you should grow them all together, because you're actually doing yourself a service. Because what grow one, grow all. I know that sounds like silly, but it's logically correct. Like, I mean, when's the last time you ever saw someone, say, with 10,000 followers on one platform and not have at least 1,000 followers on every other one? Like, it's not a thing, right? You look at some of the biggest streamers you can see, they don't have 5 followers on Twitter, do they? You know, they got, you know, thousands, because they grew it all together. So you got to make sure that you do that, and you've got to make sure that you prioritize that. So when you sit down, you go, I'm going to stream 17,000 hours a week. Don't do that. Don't do it. I used to do that. I used to do that a lot. I used to do, like, say, I don't know, 10, 12 hour streams every single day. Like, because I love streaming and I love talking to everyone, but I neglected every other social media outlet that I had, you know? So all of them stayed the same because I wasn't doing anything on them, you know? And they won't grow unless you do something on them. So, like, instead of streaming that many hours a day, maybe stream 4 hours. You know, maybe stream 4 hours and then use the other 4 hours that you're going to use to stream those extra. Go and do something on another platform. Go and make some Instagram posts, you know? Go and do some Linktree advertising. You know, go and do something else. Because at the end, that might actually benefit you more than you streaming all those hours to 5 people. I think that's important to know as well.
You're making me think of that video that you said. Remember, I responded to you. You posted a video the other day, and I saw it, and I responded that this video is eye-opening. And that video,
I watched that. And I was like, wait, this guy knows what I'm thinking. Like, that's why it resonated with me so well, because I was thinking about this, and then I was just, like, looking around YouTube, just watching some stuff, and I was looking on TikTok, and that came up on my TikTok. Because obviously, you know, algorithms on TikTok work in that mysterious way that, you know, they're always fucking listening to what you're saying anyway. So I was thinking to myself, you know, I was searching on all different platforms, and I went on TikTok, like, just randomly to just, you know, chill out in bed and watch something. And that video came up on TikTok, and I clicked on the guy's YouTube page, and I was like, I need to post this, because it's just my brain right now, exactly how I was feeling and thinking. And if you don't know what video we're talking about, you can go to the general. But it was literally a video of just how you should stream less and do more of other things, you know, and it'll be the same, because you're putting effort into everything rather than one. And that's all I was thinking. And so I reiterate the point because of how important I felt it was.
So powerful. So it's exactly what Adam just said. The guy talked about how, like he basically had to look internally and remind himself, like, you know, why am I doing this? Like, why did I want to do this initially? You know, and he thought about, like, all the principles, you know, like, I want to make a difference. I love reaching out. I love connecting. But he realized that he got so obsessed with just the idea of exposing and streaming. That's all he did night and day, like Adam just mentioned. And he got away from the quality of it. So he kind of took a step back and said, you know what? Let me get myself healthy again. Let me not neglect life as itself again. Let me get back on track. And he started, you know, bringing his life back together. He talked about getting a great job and doing all these other things, and he would still stream, right? But now he had a much better message, because the quality of his life around him had gotten so much better, because he wasn't obsessed with streaming so much. So his streams were the time that he was streaming was cut in half, but his numbers were doubling, tripling, quadrupling. He was growing massively, because now his message was more powerful and it was resonating. And that's like, it's kind of mind blowing, right? Because, like, Adam, I'm like you too, dude. Like, I feel like I'm, like, there now. Like, I kind of, like, all right, Ken, you know, you're going back to being obsessed with, like, being on camera all the time and sharing laughs, but, you know, like, you gotta get back to living life again, because that's what people really love about you. That's what motivates people when they hear about these stories. Like, you know, like this incident happened. That's an amazing story, you know, that happened, and it happened at the right time. It was unexpected, but you've already taken it and developed all these amazing lessons that I'm learning from, that the people that follow you are learning from. I gotta go do, I myself also have to go do the same thing. It's so easy for us to get like so zoned in and focused,
Mm,
and we don't even realize that we're allowing that certain part of us that gets used to like being obsessive about things
correct.
to take over, and we're not growing, but rather we're obsessing in one area, we're growing in one area, and we're neglecting everything around us. Dude, I am the same exact way, Adam.
Yeah.
I'm the same way, dude.
Well, life's all about balance, right? Like, I mean, we get wrapped up in a lot of things, and sometimes or a lot of the time, we prioritize certain things of importance over others. I mean, that's just normal. Everyone's going to do that, and everyone has their priorities. Like some days, your priority is to sleep. Some days your priority is to get as many jobs done as humanly possible. Like it just depends on how you feel on the day. But if you're in the wrong mindset to begin with, right? Sleeping's going to be, or staying in bed or whatever it might be the only option. You know what I mean? And that's a whole different ball game. Like you need to self motivation in people in general is not
Hmm.
that high. It's a lot of people can't drive themselves to do too much or more than they need to because they don't want to, and they think, what the fuck's the point? Like, but there is definitely a point because you feel that achievement factor. It's like the same as going to like go do a workout, right? You don't want to do it, you don't want to do it, but once you do it, you feel better. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? It's like it's not just the endorphins, it's the achievement process. Like when you play a video game, right? And you have an achievements list on that video game, and you complete that achievements list 100% on that video game, don't you feel fucking awesome? Like you feel like you actually achieved something. Realistically, it's a video game. Like
Right.
it has no initiation in real life. You just played this game for 150 hours and you completed it 100% and you feel amazing from that. But someone else might think that was a fucking waste of time. You know what I mean? Like there might not be the priorities for others. So it's interesting to see what you prioritize and why. Like, and I think everybody falls into holes sometimes where they're like, I just can't be fucked. And that's fine. Like, you're human, you burn out. I burn out all the time. Some days I will literally just cancel my entire day and sleep because I need to catch up because I push myself very hard when it comes to doing everything. And I'm an overworker. Like I know Ken is the same. Like he's always working hard, and we do it because we love doing it, but at the same time, we have a vision of what we want to achieve in a day. And if we don't achieve it, we have to push harder. And sometimes we push a little bit too hard, and it's okay to chill. But you still don't want to be directionless because if you're directionless, you waste time, you achieve nothing, you know?
Hey, I want to, if you're okay, I want to kind of maybe try and dive into that a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
that is so true. You know how we hear stories about people who you know seem to be very successful, seem to have all the things that they want. They'll obtain something, right? Car, house, a girlfriend, a boyfriend. Like they'll just obtain something, that they really wanted, but it'll be something that they just happen to obtain. Like they came across it, they got a little lucky, they got it. They're happy they got it, but like there's just something that's not fully satisfying about it. Like it's like yeah, I got it, but it was kind of handed to me. It's not the same. There is so much power in the struggle. There's so much power in the process of getting something that you really want. Like when people talk about you have character, right? They're not talking about, oh, you're funny. Oh, you're
Mm.
charming. You're charming. Oh, you're so clever and witty. When people talk about somebody having character, they're talking about as an individual, you come across very resilient. As an individual, when you speak your words, you could tell that your words have substance and experience behind them. Like you're a fucking boss and it's obvious you've done things. That's what character is. And you build character by going after things that you want and going through the letdowns, going through the heartache, going through the rejection, going through the hurdles, facing adversaries. Like yes, let's go back to that video game thing. So, like, if I want to get a gold camo, for example, on Call of Duty,
Mhm.
like to other people, it's like, you know, the fucking stupid gold camo. But to me, it's 1,000 fucking headshots, 1,000 fucking, no attachments. Like, it's a fucking pain in the ass to get there.
Yeah.
So I know about the sweat that it takes to get that, and I know that there's a whole host of people that can also relate to that too, but that's what feels good about that. Like people who know the game know, like, all right, that dude's rocking a diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's no one to fuck with. Like, he can't take a guy like that lightly. I know, I know it's a video game, whatever, but that's like, I'm doing it because whatever, we're all gamers here. But there's a lot in that, Adam. There's a lot, like those scar, like, dude, guys like us, like, regardless of what our appearance is, right? If we were to look at the emotional, if the emotional person within us was to be visible right now, that motherfucker would be scarred, stitched up, fucking cat, but he would still be going. He'd be a fucking war, but he would have scars of war like you wouldn't believe. That's character. Like that strength, you know what I mean? And that's what's within us. Anyway, so a reason I wanted to share that is because, like, what Adam is saying is 100% right, guys. Like, there's something in going after something that you want, even if you feel it's out of reach. I promise you guys, I fucking promise you that there have been moments in my life where there was something that I really, really wanted, right? And everybody around me said, I'm not smart enough. I don't have a doctorate's degree. I can't do it. I'm not. I'm the son of an immigrant. It'll never happen for me. Like it's just like so much shit, right? And there was moments in my life where, like, it was said to me enough where I was almost like, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's just so you know what? I'll find something else to be happy about. But there's a lion in me that was always like, but I'm gonna fucking go after it anyway, because guess what? I want them to tell me no. Like I can walk away from that with my chin high if I go for it and fucking fail. I could walk away from it like a boss, like a champion, if I fail. What I can't do is think about that for the rest of my life, wondering what if.
Yeah.
Like, what if I would have done that? Right. You know what I mean? Sorry if I took the conversation like a fucking like 5 different ways, but like there's just the things that you say, Adam. And I know the community understands, and that's why they love you. But the things that you say, like, there's a lot of power in these ideas, in these words, and hopefully, with some of these more elaborate explanations, some of those dots connect on a greater level for for the people listening.
No, I 100% agree with everything you just said. And I know, look, that going off on tangents when we're talking about this kind of thing is good, because, I mean, it kind of like, it drives you to a new topic, because, like, every time you say one thing, say you're talking about achievements and all that kind of stuff, we bounce off each other, which is I kind of like, because this is the reason why the first time we did this podcast, everybody enjoyed it so much, right? Because what happens is both of us, we have that thing that pushes us to do more, even though we don't have to. Okay? Not everybody has that, but the people that do have that, they're the kind of people, like, that I respect so much, because I'm not doing I'm not tooting horns, and I'm not trying to big note anyone, okay? All I'm saying is that it's a good trait to have in someone, if you have goals. Okay. A lot of people are like, goals are stupid, but they're the people that never achieve them because they procrastinate, right? So, like, if I have a goal in mind, I do what I can to achieve it. Now, if I get halfway there and I think to myself, maybe this goal, might not be the goal that I want to do. You know what I mean? It might change. It might change along the way. Like, you never know. You've got to set yourself something, though, to look forward to, or a benchmark to push yourself towards. So, like, say your goal, and say a lot of people in the chat are obviously streamers. Say your goal is to get a certain amount of followers, right? Say you're at 400 followers, you want 500 followers, okay? Getting 500 followers, what is that going to do for you? What is that going to do for you? Is it going to fulfill something for you personally, so that you can say you have 500 followers, or is it going to bring more people into your chat so that you can come in and watch you and stuff? I can almost guarantee you it's a personal thing, right? Because majority of the time, like, we looked at the Twitch channel. I have nearly 3,000 followers on Twitch, right? it doesn't mean we have more viewers, okay? That's not what it's all about. The follower thing doesn't mean anything for the community. I think it more means more for me personally to be able to say, hey, I have this many followers, right? That's like a fulfillment thing. It's a bit selfish to say, but it's true, right?
Right.
But if you see streamers like who have 10,000 followers, say, and they have 10 viewers, they went wrong somewhere. Something went wrong along the way, right? Because
Right.
they should have 100 viewers, right? Now,
At least, yeah.
if you have 100 followers, and you have 10 viewers, you're ahead of the curve. You're killing it, all right? Because you should probably have one viewer with 100 followers, right? But the 100 followers that you have, out of 100 followers, you have 10 viewers. That's 10 people that you gave a reason to come back. You gave them substance. You gave them something of you, so they would actually want to come back into your stream. That's better. I'd rather have 100 followers and 10 viewers than 10,000 followers and 10 viewers. I can guarantee you that. And every single one of you will agree, because the follower thing is for you, right? It might be for analytics a little bit, but the follower thing is for you. I mean, you've got to give people a reason to want to come watch. You got to give them something, like, because you're like a television, like you're like a Netflix TV show on this platforms. Like, if you turn on a Netflix TV show, how many episodes do you give it before you turn it off?
Right.
Usually no more than 3. Like, personally.
And you know what too, Adam, right? It all boils down to the reason why you're doing it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people in this game. Again, now everybody probably, oh my God, Ken, all you do is fucking gas up Adam. It's true, I do gas him up, but I gas him up for good reason, right? Because of what he just said. So there's a lot of people that get into this for egotistical purposes, so that they can feel good about themselves. Like Adam said, like, oh wow, I got 10,000 followers, or I got 20,000 followers. But then there's people who get into this because of something bigger than them, which is like what Adam talked about. I'd rather have 100 followers and 10 viewers than 10,000 followers and 10 viewers, right? Because at 100 followers and 10 viewers, like, holy fuck, man, that's not bad. 10 out of these 100 people, like, they're coming back to me. Like, there's something that I'm saying that's making them feel good. I'm telling you right now, folks, if you haven't done it yet, there's nothing wrong with it. But the day you can make your cause bigger than yourself is the day your life will change, because things will, like success, numbers, glory, whatever the fuck you want, that'll come. That'll come. Like that's why these things come to like Adam, because somebody might look at Adam and be like, whoa, he's got 3,000 Twitch followers, he's doing all these different things. Sure, right? But the irony and the madness in this, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is that within Adam though, he doesn't look at it that way. Within Adam, he's thinking about the core few that are actually getting an uplifting, and their lives are changing. That is driving the entire fucking engine, and that's why the success just kind of rains down. Because if it was just about the follower number and this and that, the community wouldn't be as large as it is. His viewership wouldn't be as large as it is. That desire, that lion who got up the next day and said, I took it in the chin, but guess what? Now we got 20 more new ideas that we're going to go after. That guy wouldn't get up the next day either. There's something so powerful in that. So before I digress, I wanted to go back to that point, right? I wanted to ask you. You tell me what you think, and we could even ask the people, the folks, who are listening, what they think. Do you think that people the people who come from the school of thought where they're like, like, fuck that shit, man. And like, I'm cool, bro. Day by day, man. I take it as a compliment, man. Whatever the day brings me, man, that's what I fucking roll with the wind. I'm so cool. The goals are for like dorks or whatever. Like, I do you think those people are they? Do you think they do that because they really don't? They're afraid that they have no goals. Like they're afraid of like, nah, man, because I don't want to sit down and then realize like I'm a fucking loser and I don't want to do anything with my life. Which, by the way, I'm just playing character here. I don't think that if you sit down and you don't have a goal per se, that doesn't make you a loser. All that means is that you never actually taken the time to sit down and figure out what that means to you. I promise you this. So that, do you think it's that, or do you think it's that people have taken the time to think about what goals they want and realize like, fuck, man, the things that I want and the things that are important to me are so far out of reach that it's depressing to even think about. I don't want to think about all
Mm.
that failure. Fuck it. I'd rather just pretend I don't care.
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of
Yeah.
both because like you'll have those people that will be like, fuck it, I don't care. You know what I mean? Those people. So the people that you say, why don't you have a goal? I say, I don't give a shit about that. That's not my priority. But they don't have priorities. This is the whole point. Like they are humble by doing whatever they want to do during the day, and they're happy with that. That's simplicity, right? But that simplicity, I think, is the placebo for them because they might have had that issue where in life they saw this goal and they couldn't reach it and they gave up, and then they said, okay, well, I'm just going to have to live as it is because that's just all I'm good for. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that is a little bit like that. Like, so in that respect, I think both of those things are true to some degree. So you have that person that gets up in the morning and says, I already know what I'm doing today. It's not achieving anything massive, but I'm happy with it. Okay.
Yeah.
You also have those people that get up in the morning and say, life's too hard, I can't be fucked. Do you know what I mean? And look, sometimes we're all a bit like that. Sometimes we're all a bit like that. But if you're like that every single day, I think there is something more going on. I think there is like some other thing that is either disappointed you or pushed you back from whatever you were trying to achieve, and you gave up because it was easier to give up than it was to keep going in any respect, like whether it be through, you know, something that happened in your life, like or family or friends or money or, you know, career opportunities that slipped away or whatever it might be. That puts you in a position where you're now, you know, either, you know, in a state of depression, or if you're in a state of like, you know, I can't achieve anything because I failed this one thing. Do you know what I mean? I think what it is that it's just the character of a person, and I think they can't see it. You know, if some people can't visualize what's in front of them, they can't achieve it because they're like, I can't see it. I can't see it. Like I don't think it's obtainable. It's like when you're you know, we'll relate it again to video games. It's the same thing, right? So like the last level on a hardest difficulty on a game, you don't know what it is until you get there, right? But you want to get there, but you don't know what it is. So it's like, but then if there's obstacles like the levels prior are too hard, right? Sometimes you will just give up and you'll be like, well, I guess I'll never fucking achieve that, and I'll move on to something else. So it's kind of the same thing. Like, you know, if you're in a corporate job and you're sitting behind a desk and you want to be the boss, but you've never been to the boss's like office, you don't know, it's on fucking 10 floors above you. You've never been there, you don't know what it looks like, but you still want that seat. You know, you still want to go there. But then 6, 7 years in the job, 8 years, 10 years in the job, you haven't moved from the same desk, and you're still sitting there going, well, this is never going to happen. It's probably because you didn't ask. It's probably because you didn't push yourself to get there. You know, you got complacent. I think that's real.
Dude, this is so gold. Oh my god, you have no idea how gold it is. You're so a million. No, dude, I get so into it because
I think I got him excited.
So it's so true though, because dude, you ever heard the old saying, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks"? The reason is right is because, dude, our minds are more powerful than I think we give credit for. You do the same thing, you tell yourself the same thing for a lifetime, it becomes nearly impossible for anybody to change your mind about that, especially when it comes to self-limiting beliefs. You know what I mean? And that right there is what happens. You convince yourself so bad that that's, this is where I belong. 7 floors up. It's meant for the chosen few. It's meant for the chosen few. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. And people get to a point where they accept it. And once something, let me tell you something. You got to read this book by Tony Robbins called "Awaken the Giant Within." This book changed my life. Every book I read changed my life. But that talks about self-limiting beliefs. It talks about the stages of how a thought becomes a thing, an action, and then eventually it becomes a belief. And then once it becomes something that you live by, like that's it. Like you basically convince yourself that this is a fuck. Like and because he's talking about like how a lot of people who don't know the process of turning something into a belief, like they're out there fighting for shit they don't even realize what the fuck it is, because they don't realize they trained themselves to think a certain way, forgot all the reasons why. I want to give you an example. So that I know you can think of a million things that you would have never done that you're not naturally good at, but that you've done and you've succeeded in. I was a controller player my whole life.
Hmm.
I like using the gaming analogies because we're streaming and we all love gaming, right?
Yeah.
I was a controller player for a long time, and over 20 years, and I got to a point in playing Call of Duty where I wasn't as fast as my friends, and I was really like the worst fucking player. Like I'm like all the time, I'm like, God, this sucks. Like and and I was thinking, oh, you know what? I guess I just got older. Like I started accepting like, well, whatever. At least I got a great corporate life and doing all these other amazing. But still, like gaming is a part of my life, and I was just like, it just sucked. Like all my friends were they were just like better. But then I'm like, no, fuck that. Like fuck that. Like I'm smarter than all of them. Not in like they're my friends and I love them, but in a like, dude, don't forget who you are, Ken. Like, get your
Yeah.
shit
Yeah.
together. There's a solution to this. Keyboard and mouse. And I thought, like I see these people on keyboard and mouse. Everybody talks about how you're so much faster on keyboard and mouse, but then I'm like, no way, dude. I'll never learn. Like, how the fuck? What do you mean? W goes forward, D goes to the right. Like, how the fuck is it possible? But I went through the exercise of mentally like envisioning like, dude, in 1 year, if I keep doing this, like if I grind that out, it's gonna suck. I'm gonna not be able to walk for like 6 months in the game. Everybody's gonna get mad at me. They're gonna be, what the fuck are you doing? Your guy's standing in the corner. It's all good. Like I'll get through it. But if I can master that, like that'll make up for my ability to not be able to move so quickly,
Yeah.
dude. And I did it. I did it. Like you see anybody who sees me play Call of Duty, I am fucking lightning fast with my character. And that's simply because I made the adjustment of going from controller to keyboard. None of my friends, they've all tried it and they said they can't do it. You want to know why? Because they tried it like half-assing, like, oh, Ken he mastered it. Let me try it out. Oh, this fucking sucks, dude. How did you deal with this for a year? No, that's because in my head I believe, like, dude, I can do this. I can do it.
Yeah.
It's just that failing is a part of the process. That's the key. Failing is a part of the process.
Yeah.
Fail forward. Fall on your face. Fail forward. Everybody falls on their face. Don't be afraid of it. Get used to it. Expect it. When you fucking fall and fail, smile. Like, oh, there you go. I was waiting for you, fucking dick failure. Fuck you. I know. I've seen Adam do it. I've seen Ken do it. I got to get up, smile, and keep it going. But that's what I did. And like, look, I know it's a game, but still, like, none of my friends have been able to master mouse and keyboard. I did it after 25 years of being a controller player. Now I play mouse and keyboard with the best of them, And that's not because, dude, I didn't have this hidden talent in the back of my head. Like, oh, he was always a mouse and keyboard player. Some people just have it. No, I struggled for the year.
Yeah.
Everybody yelled at me. Nobody would send me invites. Like, it was bad. But I believe that one day I would get to the point where I'm fucking like, lightning and amazing at it. And, that's how it happened. So I don't know if I probably missed the mark with that analogy, but I wanted to,
you can apply it. You can apply it to everything. You can apply it to everything. Same as if you wanted to learn an instrument, right? Like you have to practice, right? You're gonna suck for a very long time. Like you're gonna miss that G chord every time you try to string it. Like you're gonna try and play D and you're gonna fuck it up every second time. Like, but if you practice it enough, you might fuck it up only once every 4 times. So it's just like. It's anything. It's anything. You can apply that analogy to anything in life. The reason there's professional people doing professional things is because they spend years and years practicing that thing to become a professional person. So it's like no matter what it is, whether it be like football or whether it be musicianship or whether it be gaming, like these people just didn't like wake up and were fucking amazing at something. Like they actually had to work for it. And those people that work for one thing, they know what hard work is. They work for everything. That's why if you see someone in a successful position, say you look at like a gaming person, say you look at like Tim the Tatman, right? Or someone like that as a reference or an analogy. Look at someone like that. He didn't just wake up and have 6 million followers. He didn't just wake up and have that many followers. He didn't just wake up and be good at the game he's playing, like to a professional level where he can actually compete. Like he didn't just wake up and he was good at that. He spent years and years and years, and that's all he fucking did, right? That's all he did. all he did. He started where everyone else did. He started with a controller or a keyboard or whatever it might be, and he sat down at his computer and he said, how does this game work? And some people would start doing that and they spend 6 hours and they go, I hate this game, it's too hard, turn it off. Right? Some people spend 6 years playing it and they're like, I hate this game, it's too hard, I'm turning it off. Right? And then some people spend, 20 years doing it, and all of a sudden they've built up this thing around them that they didn't even realize was possible just by putting their mind to something to start with. Because once you have that mindset about one thing you're doing, it's very easy to apply it to everything else. So it's like if you have a routine, right? So you get up in the morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning, whatever, you have your coffee, and then you go to the gym for an hour. Say that's your routine every day. You already have it. You already have it because you actually make the effort every day to go do something. So you make the effort to get out of bed, you have a routine, you go to the gym 1 hour because it's, you have a goal in mind. It makes you a fitter person. It makes you, someone whose mind is a little bit clearer for the day. And, it's beneficial to your life, right? And if you do that, the same thing like that for 20 years or 10 years, whatever it might be, why can't you apply that to everything else? Why can't you apply that to your job? Why can't you apply that to something you want to achieve online? Like we're doing like for this community, like why can't you do that? Like, and sometimes you fall in holes and you have obstacles, like we were saying, like it could be anything that sets you back. But the people that really use that to their advantage are the people that bounce back from it, in the face of something that's difficult, because nothing comes easy, right?
Nothing. You said something, you asked a powerful question. Why can't we do that? Why can't we take that thought process or that strategy and apply it somewhere else? The thing is, you can. I think where a lot of people, um, I think where a lot of people fall short, right, is that they put like this time restraint, like, oh, you know what, I gotta try this, but man, if I don't get this after like a couple of days, like it's not for me. If I don't get this after a couple of weeks, it's not for me. If I don't get this after a couple of months, it's not for me. But then you talked about how sometimes it takes people 20 years to master something.
Yeah.
It just depends on how bad you want something. Like that's the one thing, like if you're gonna go after something that means a lot to you, if you're gonna go something that really, really means a lot to you guys, anybody, don't put a time restraint on it. Be prepared to devote your life to that thing. Doesn't mean it's going to consume everything, but just so back to my keyboard and mouse escapade, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did not put a timeline on it. I didn't. I was like, look, I'm going to keep trying. There must have been, I don't know, like realistically maybe 150 or 200 different moments in that 12-month process where I was like, fuck this. This is stupid. It's fucking annoying. What was I thinking? Yeah. There must have been a good 150 to 200 of those. But it kept my eye on the prize. You know what I mean? I kept my eye on the outcome. If you create a strong enough outcome, Adam, like if you create a strong enough outcome, meaning you can envision what the end result looks like, the end result that you want, and feel good about it, because that's what I was doing, Adam. I envisioned me on mouse and keyboard just like having a good time and playing with friends, and that made me feel good. Like I felt like actually having that was enough. That was enough to get me through those tough times.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. I mean, the other thing that I'm gonna use another analogy now that might be a little bit more relatable, maybe. It depends how mechanically minded you are, right? So when you're trying to problem solve when it comes to like fixing a car, for example, right? Say something's wrong with your brakes, your ABS or something. There's a code in there and it's fucking something up and it's not working correctly, and this is a real issue, and you're like, oh god, how do I fix this? Like, what am I going to do? The mechanic mentality, or the good mechanic mentality, I should say, because not everyone thinks this way, is what is that connected to? Do you know what I mean? So like, why would that happen? Think about that for a fact. Instead of thinking like how it's happening and the problem at hand, think about why it's happening, right? So like basically you think to yourself, okay, this code comes on because this component is not working correctly. It might not be that component that's broken, right? Is that component connected to something else, right? Say it's connected to a brake pedal, right? Is the brake pedal operating correctly, right? And then you go from there, you go, is the electrics of the brake pedal operating correctly? And then you go further, you go down, is the battery connected, right? And you go down these paths to basics, right? Engines work very, very technically. Like there is a million fucking things happening when an engine's firing, right? But the three things that an engine needs is air intake, right? Is spark, ignition, right? And it needs fuel. There's the three things it needs. That's the basic needs of an engine. If you don't have those three things, it won't run. Right. Okay? So you start at the basics. You go backwards. So when I apply this to something that like a goal in life, right? If you come across a goal and you say, I want to do this course and I want to do it. Okay. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need prerequisites, right? So you get your prerequisites together and you do them. So say, I didn't get higher enough in maths. All right, let's go do the maths course, right? Now you go and look for the maths course and you go, oh, the math course, it costs this much. And you're like, oh, I don't have the money. Well, how do we get the money? Okay. So now we're going to go down this line. So now we're going to need to go get a job, right? And we go get a job and then this job doesn't pay enough. Well, let's go get another job, right? Let's work your way backwards down the line. Okay. Instead of starting up here and being like, I need to complete my master's this year, right? Maybe it's going to take 3 or 4 years because you need to complete everything prior to that in order to get to that point. But once you get to that point, you're going to be fucking living the dream. Like that's what it's all about. Like you need to complete all the steps prior to what you're trying to achieve in order to achieve it. Because if you try to skip something, it might set you back even longer. Like,
yeah. And back to like, remember when I talked about character, right? Character is built in accomplishing all of those little steps along the way. Those are all victories, like it's so easy. And look, the reason why I could talk about this so matter of factly is because I remember being like of the different thought. I remember thinking like, gosh, man, there's like, I'll never be able to accomplish that. I have to do so many things. And then you just like, that's the mentality. Like you think like the weight of the world is on my shoulders. But if you just focus on the one thing, like if you identify the 10 prerequisites and say, you know what, I'm going to do number 1. Let me do number 1. Let me see. And you focus on number 1, you'll quickly realize that when you do number 1, that great feeling like, fuck, man, I did it, man. There's only 9 more to go. Exactly. Let me go do. And then along the way, you start, but like, so Adam, that's the difference between like when we talk about character, like somebody who gets to 10, right? Like, let's just say you're gifted 10. Like, here you go, man. You're at 10, man. You don't gotta do shit. You got it. You got the accolade. You got the recognition. It's like, oh, cool. Thanks, man. That's cool. I guess I could go tell people that, I got it, right? Whereas somebody who gets to 1, I did it, man. All right, Adam, I fucking did it, man. I feel good, man. I'm gonna do 2. It might take me a little longer, but fuck it, I'll get there. You do 2. It takes you a little bit longer, but you get there. I did it. Along the way, you're building strength and confidence so that when you get to 10, it's more than just like, oh, cool, thanks, man. I guess I got this accolade. It's like, man, I earned that, man. There's so much power in like going through that. Like that.
Yeah.
Dude, I get so passionate about that because like, we talked about this like on the last podcast, like how like, for me to get to where for me to live the life that I've lived, I had to learn what it was to be self-motivated. I had to learn to appreciate the little steps and the battles in between. And guys, I don't want to say nothing because I feel like I came from a very rich love family. Like we were rich in love, but resources, very poor, I had to learn all these things, so believe me, I can relate with a lot of people when they overwhelm themselves. So like, I know that a lot of people will probably watch it and say, that sounds really nice, guys, but like, nah, you don't understand, like really, like I got nothing. No, I fucking understand. Trust me, I understand. I had 0. I had nothing. I had nowhere to turn but myself and my thoughts. And a simple shift of the thoughts, before you know it, you start finding the answers. So I don't want to, we could go like it's like forever in that direction, Adam. But I know that there were certain things that you wanted to make sure we covered during the conversation.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I guess the thing we talked about before, and to that point as well, is that millennial mentality, I think that's something that is important to notice as well. Like we, like, you know, I'm only 32, right? You're a little older than me, but we came
You're only
from
32. Wow, dude, you're so far ahead of the game. You don't even know it.
we
Good
came,
shit.
yeah, we came, but we both sort of come from that old mentality of you have to be in the same job forever, or you have to, you know, in order to get anywhere, it's going to take a long time, right? Now
Yeah,
we live in a society of instant gratification, right? If you want
yeah,
something, you press a fucking button on your phone, you get it. Whether it be you want to watch something, whether it's a cheeseburger, whether it's a fucking, you know, computer, like whatever it might be, you can press a button on your phone and that shit will be your doorstep. You don't have to do anything, right? It doesn't matter, right? I never even thought that, like, that blew me away. Like when I was, like, you know, in my 20s, like that kind of stuff started coming about, like the instant stuff. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that you just press a button and things happen for you. Like that shit didn't exist. Like back when back when I was a kid, man, like that shit wasn't real. Like that's like science fiction stuff, you know? It sounds like, it sounds old and weird and silly, but I'm telling you, like, the reason people now are like so impatient when it comes to learning or doing new things is because they're used to that instant gratification button where they can press something and it just appears to them. And they don't want to work hard for it if it takes too long.
I know, bro. I feel bad for them. It's remarkable, bro. They, and this is, and please hold the thought because I know you're going somewhere with it. But I got to tell you this. I went to Dunkin' Donuts yesterday here in my town. Right,
Mm-hmm.
the drive through was like fucking 20 cars long.
Mm-hmm.
I go inside, nobody's in line. There are people coming in and out with the mobile app, and I'm like, guys, like you're all wasting half your day. I just came in. Like
Just get
nobody
out of my
believes
car.
in waiting. But nobody believes in waiting in line anymore, though. Like, but they don't realize like they've actually switched it. Now it's more convenient to actually, if you could just fucking not be lazy for a second, go inside. You'll save yourself like 10, 15 minutes, bro. This whole culture of instant gratification is mind-boggling to me. Fucking
Yeah.
mind-boggling.
I think it's going to cause a lot of problems in the future though, because like
Hell
I think
yeah.
if people grow up with this kind of like, you know, I get given everything mentality. Like we had people like, remember you when you're like, say you're in school, right? You always had that person, that kid who had everything, right? He had everything because either his parents were really well off, or, you know, they just spoiled the shit out of him, and you know, like he didn't have to work for anything, right? How did that person turn out? You know, 9 times out of 10, not well. They went into adulthood and they had no idea what the fuck to do. They didn't know how to do their own taxes because they never tried. They didn't know how to get a job because they never needed one. They didn't
Yeah.
know, like, didn't have to buy anything, so they never had to go through the struggles of actually working to get it. Like, and that then it's not going to be a benefit to you. Like they might turn out great. Don't get me wrong. They might turn out to be like the greatest person, greatest friend, whatever it might be. But I don't think that teaches anyone anything. Like, and I don't think it makes you a better person. I think it makes you a worse person. And like, just
Yeah.
in a character reference altogether, like people need to, like, you know, actually struggle for things sometimes, because I think it makes you a better person. Like, it grows
Yeah.
you. Yeah. And if you're always just sitting there, just pressing the button, you get whatever you want. Like in the future, we're gonna have a lazy society, man. Like there is gonna be like people are literally making robots to do things for them because they can't be fucked. Like like it's harder to make a robot than just to do it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's that's wild to me. Like, you know, let's build a robot to serve drinks at a bar. It's like, why? It doesn't make any
The,
sense.
hey, by the way, so real quick, are you? I just heard my son in the background. Have
Mm.
you been able to hear them the whole time? I'm sorry, because I could close the door.
No, I can't hear anything.
Oh, okay, good.
It's all
I
good.
hear you. I don't know if he's doing that on purpose. The so I want to get. I was listening to what you were saying though. So my kids, right? This
Mm-hmm.
happened like a few weeks ago. I, I'm so busy sometimes that I don't realize certain things are going on. But I started realizing that my kids come to me almost every day with their fucking iPads, like, "Oh, Dad, can I get this game? Dad, can I get this game?" And like me, because I've got so much going on, I'm like, "Yeah, I just hit the button, hit the button, hit the button." So I started paying attention, right, to my son coming over, and he's so slick, because he knows how observant I can be.
Yeah.
So I noticed he does it the same way every time he comes over with the second. Oh, that you're busy. And then I always do the same thing. What is it? Tell me, Brenda. Because I don't want to, like I'm fucking like, everybody knows me. I'm obsessed with like being a dad and that's like important to me. So I'm always like, what is it, buddy? What is it? Just tell me. I got you. And then he does whole, oh, well, there was this, no, it's okay. It's okay. And I'm like, Brent, just give me the iPad. What is it? Like, he does that so that by the time I get the iPad, I'm like, of course, sweetheart, don't feel bad. And I realize like this happens every day. Right.
Smart
So
kid.
then, like, 5 days go by, and I'm like, Brendan, you realize on Monday you asked me to get you a new game, and then on Tuesday, Wednesday, now it's Friday, and you're doing it again. Why aren't you playing all these other games? And he goes, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry. I'll go play Dad. I'm so sorry. I'm like, Brand, look, dude, like, stop with that soft shit. Like, that's one thing. Like I'm a dad, but you're not going to be a little, look. Those people who know me know that like as much as I love being dad, I'm a tough fucking dad. Like, dude, don't give me your PUSSY bullshit. Like, be a man. All right, be tough. Handle it like a fucking champion. I say it to my girls too, but I tell them to be a woman. All right, for those who are,
Yeah.
So I I realize like, oh my god, there's so much and it's so easy that he hasn't developed the ability to enjoy a game more than a fucking day. Like, bro, I'm like, dude, this is not good. This is not fucking good. Because God forbid, like he starts feeling that way about girlfriends or about anything, But like next, I'm gonna have a fucking son who's unpleasable.
Yeah.
So I've been spending a lot of time, obviously, trying to well, now there's a process for them to earn new games that now takes a few days because when I just tried to say, look, let's go to one game every 3 days, like their little brains couldn't comprehend it because they're growing up in the culture of instant gratification. So they're kind of like, but why? But like it's right there. I could just get it. Like, but why? But why? But why? So I had to be a little strategic, and I'm like, fine, fucker. You want to know about why? You have to clean your room, put your toilet, you do all these things that I know are going to take them a few days,
Right.
to get done,
And then you'll
then
get
he
it.
can get a new game. But you're right though, because that's a little kid though. Now imagine a teenager, and then imagine a young adult who didn't have a father like me. Not that I'd be perfect, but I'm saying like somebody who just let them have all those different things every single day, bro. Imagine how hard it's going to be for you to satisfy yourself or to find something to focus on because you're so used to being able to change things up on a whim.
Yeah.
Crazy
That's
stuff,
exactly
dude.
right. That's exactly right. And like, it's the same thing as like, as I was speaking to you about before, or like yesterday, about how like when I was a kid, I always like found something to do because I knew, because my parents were those people. They were like, if you're bored and you can't find something to do, we'll give you something to do. Right. And that was always the way. Like, and it's always going to be something you don't want to do. So like, you never say to anyone, or like me personally, I never say to my parents, I'm bored. Never, ever, ever would I ever say that because I don't want to do the sweeping. I don't want to do the lawn. I don't want to take the rubbish out. I want to go do something I want to do, like read a book or play a video game. And like, it was always like the reason like your parents put limits on you when it comes to things like say like, okay, read 2 chapters or 3 chapters, then you're going to bed, right? Or
Yeah.
play a video game for an hour and then you're getting off, right? And or the reason they do all these things, and I realize this now as an adult. As a kid, I was like, this is super inconvenient. I'm really enjoying this book, right? You know what I mean? Like, but they're like, well, you need to get up for school, like, you know what I mean? But it's school, like, book, it's more important to me, like. But the reason they do that is because they're looking out for you, because they know that if you develop a habit, right, of say reading a book till 5 a.m, right? You're always going to be that person that puts things, whatever it is of the day that's a priority to you. You're just going to put that in your head, and everything else is just subsequential like damage to whatever you're doing. Just the one thing. So like it's more like a teaching your kids or teaching people that you care about balance. If you have balance and you do a whole bunch of things, right? But you still complete all the things that you were doing, that's better than completing one thing at a time, right? And then neglecting everything else. Because like that's not going to help you in the long run. Like you still need to be able to multitask. Like I find it, being being a dude, like I can't multitask for shit. Like I'm playing Warzone, I can't even read the chat. I'm trying, but I'm so focused on winning and like killing and like getting things done. I can't read the chat for shit, and I know that, and I'm conscious of it, right? Because I'm like, every time I look over the chat, it's going real quick. Like especially if I have a few people, I'm like, oh shit, like I should probably read it. But then I'm like, oh, but I'm playing the game, people are enjoying it. I really want to play it properly, and it's a balancing act there. You got to do both, like, and it's the same in life. Like, you've got school or you've got all these different things you want to do. You have to balance it out, because if you don't, you're actually not helping yourself. You're actually making it worse.
Balance, man. It's so funny, dude, because when you grow up like not having a lot of resources, balancing isn't that hard because
You got less to
you
worry
kind of
about.
yeah, you know.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating to me, like because like everybody grows up wanting, uh, you want better for your kids. You'll see it. It's just a natural instinct. You want better for your kids, but then you quickly realize that it's harder to teach your kids those special lessons you learned when you do provide them with with a better life. Like that's the part that's the part that's really been blowing my mind, because I remember, like, all the different nights of struggling, no food, no this, no that. And I remember all the pain. I never realized that all of those lessons would help me become the person that I am today, and that I would eventually learn to love that experience. At the time I thought, I'll never let my kid go through this. But it's
Yeah.
like, fuck, there's a lot of power in that, you know what I mean? So it's it's a special kind of balance. It's really difficult. The There was something that I wanted to when we talked last night, you there was, and I think you might have put it in in the description. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot what it was, but it was something about like getting started, being self-motivated, but like, and how to get started.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were going to segue into that at some point or not, but I wanted to make sure that at some point we kind of touch on that, because I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of the community, um, they're at that, like, they
At
don't
that
know what,
point,
like,
yeah, I agree.
where they don't know where or how to get started, and maybe by us talking about it, there's a potential to help them kind of figure. I mean, all we could do is try, right? We're not going to be able to solve the solution for everybody,
No,
but
let's push into it now. Let's push into it now. I'll let you lead.
yeah, yeah.
Go for it. Let's talk about it now. I think
The,
it's yeah. Go on.
the so real quick on a technical issue.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, my stream is unable to hear you. I don't
That's
know if it's something that I did. Uh, can't. So I wonder if I should just. Do you think I should I leave it up, shut it down? But I don't know why. Oh, never mind. My son. Hero, I can't hear him either. He's talking about my son. Sorry, dude. I'm like, because in my head I'm like, oh shit, that's gonna sound weird. It's gonna just
wouldn't
fucking
be
be me
it
talking
wouldn't
to
be a
myself.
stream. It wouldn't be a stream without a
Sorry
technical
about that.
problem, right?
Sorry, sorry, Toaster. Thank you.
That's all good.
Anyway, so yeah, so there was I was talking to Adam yesterday, and there was this we could talk about so many different things, because of the amount of experience and the approach that we both have to just life in general. And there was this one, um, there was something that Adam brought up that I think would resonate with everybody, and that's like, perhaps maybe people just don't know, like, they don't know where to start when it comes to becoming so, like, people want that. I feel like, right, isn't it fair to say that people want to feel good about something, right? At some point in, like
Yeah.
they do want something to kind of go after, but it's like there's so much intimidation in the idea of, like, I don't even fucking know where to start. You know what I mean? Like, what would, like, what do we tell somebody in that situation, Adam? Somebody who if they come there, like, look, man, this sounds good and all, guys, but like, I don't even know where to start. Like what do I even do? Like, how would I even start to become somebody who's corporate, or somebody who sounds educated? Like, how? I have an opinion on this, but I don't want to thwart yours. I wanted to, if it's okay with you, I wanted to kind of
No,
hear
that's
your
fine.
thought on this, and then because I have a thought on this that might be a bit not radical, but maybe I'm kind of off on it.
Yeah, no, for me, I mean, to use an example like with streaming, right? Um, as someone who started streaming for no reason other than to just play games, and didn't think about the chatting situation at all. Like when I first started streaming, my mate was like, "I'm streaming on Twitch." I'm like, "I don't know what that is." And he's just like, "Oh, he's like gaming online." I'm like, why would you do that?" And he's just like, "We just game normally. What's the gratification out of that?" And he's just like, "I don't know, it's something else to do." I'm like, all right, I guess I'll do it as well. Like, if you're doing it, I'll do it. And, he's like, because he wanted someone to do it with him, I guess. Like, I mean, I don't know why you'd ask me otherwise. Like, I didn't really
Right, right.
understand the point because we were gaming together anyway. And he's like, why don't you two give it a try? I'm like, why would I? Like, I don't even know what it is. So I had to literally look it up. And I had to go on the website and be like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but I'm going to check it out. And I started really enjoying, like, it's just a different type of television. Like, really, like it's the modern type of TV. Like
Yeah.
people like to interact with what they're watching, and
Oh yeah.
that's the glory of it. Like, this all started with programming on television. Like people would when we were kids, if it's on at 7:30 and you miss it, you miss it. Like, if your favorite TV show's on at 7, you're not home, you fucking miss it, right?
I
That's it.
know, dude. Remember
You know what
that?
I mean? Like, you have
You
to
would
wait
have
a
to wait
week.
7 days.
Yeah, yeah. You have to wait a week for that show to come back. And guess what? You missed the episode. You can't just like look it up later and be like, hey, I missed this episode. I need to look it up online. No, 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 no. No, you missed that episode. You'd have to go and
That's
ask
so
someone. Like,
but think about it though, like that there's a massive price to pay, right? And
yeah. And there was
that would force us to have to like change our behavior.
prioritize. You have to
Yeah.
prioritize if you want to, and that's what, like, and so then they bring in the streaming service stuff like Netflix, and you're like, oh, well, if I want to watch it, I'll just watch it. And it's whenever I want to watch it, I'll just watch it. Like, and then now people are like, but that's not enough. I need more from what I'm watching. So now people come in and they talk to the person playing or doing whatever they're doing, because that's another thing that they brought into it. It's genius, really. Like, I wish I'd thought of it, or like to begin with, because that's a billion-dollar idea. Like, interactive television is a billion-dollar idea, literally. Like, the amount of money people have made and have incorporated into interactive anything. Like, someone had to think of that. Like, someone came up with that. Like, it didn't just like happen, like, just naturally. Like, 10, 15 years ago, we're all sitting in front of a TV watching whatever was on the TV. And
Yeah.
if you miss it, you miss it. But now you can just watch whatever you fucking want. And that is just because it's supply and demand sort of situation. You know what I mean? Like, more people wanted it, so people made it. And that's opportunity, and that's business. But like, I mean, getting back to what we were saying when it comes to doing something, the reason I use the streaming analogy is because, if people are like, how do I grow this, or how do I do this, or where do I start? What do I even do? Like, how do I begin a Twitch channel? Like, what am I supposed to do? It's like, you know what? Just start it. The only way you're going to do it, whether it be like, how am I going to get into this industry and do this job? You just start doing it, right? Because if you never start, you'll never achieve anything. So like, people come to me and they go, I don't know how to stream. Nobody knows how to stream. You learn how to stream just by doing it, right? It's a practical thing. You can watch 50,000 different videos on YouTube and whatever. You can watch 50,000 hours of people streaming. Doesn't mean you know how to stream. You could you have to develop your own style of things. You have to do it yourself. If you don't do it yourself, it's a practical thing. It's like the same as like, I'm never going to learn how to fix a car just by reading about it. You know what I mean? Like, if I could read every textbook in the world on how to build a car or fix a car or whatever. But if someone puts a car in front of me and says, take this apart, I'm just going to be like, what does the book say? You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
I just start doing it and figure it out on my own. Like, and
Yeah.
it's practical. Like, practical learning is the only way to achieve anything. I think you just got to start doing it. So just press the live button and see what happens. One person might come watch, 2 people might come watch. You might have one person talking to you. You might have 50 people come in. You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. Like, but if you never do it in the first place, nothing's going to happen. It's going to be a waste of time.
You want to hear something super crazy? So think about what Adam, just said, right? And I just want to show you guys something. And hold on a second. Okay, here on my stream, you can see the main background, right? It says you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. That's exactly what you just said.
Correct.
They're like that that is a million percent, that is a million percent true. Like a lot of the times, there's it's very tricky with the whole idea of having the end in mind, right? Because it could work for you and it could work against you, right? It could work for you in those moments of adversity where you're forgetting or you're losing faith in what you're doing and you need to remind yourself about the prize, right? Your eye on the
Mm-hmm.
prize. But it could all work against you kind of in similar moments of feeling overwhelmed because it's like fuck, I kind of want all of this. I want to have all these things. I want to be great. But I just don't know where to start. Just start. Just do it. So like, look, this is, I'm not going to talk about, like, I have to mention it for the sake of my point, but so like, I've been wanting the podcast for a long time, right? That's all I'm going to say is that I've been wanting to do it for a long time and I
Mm-hmm.
finally did it. But honestly, I've years, Adam. There were years so think about that, right? As much as I know, as much as I've learned, even me still I do shit like that, right? I never I would come up with, oh well, what's my message or what's this? Should I do it by myself? Should I have a coach? Should I do this? You know what, Adam? A couple of weeks ago, I just said I'm just gonna fucking do it. I'm just gonna do it, and because I know that if I have some nights that suck, fine. Some nights that are good, fine. But I'm gonna learn and I'm gonna continue. That's how it's gonna, because I know like the picture that I have in my mind is to make a difference in people's lives, just like you do, right? But if I just keep thinking about it, right, then it's always just going to be a thought. You
Yeah.
know, thoughts only become things when you take action.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
No,
dude.
I couldn't agree more.
The other thought I had, right, is like when you talked about like the $1 million idea, you
Yeah.
want it because there's a high demand for it. I think there's a high demand for motivation, Adam. I think there's a high demand. So like the things that we talk about, like we're talking about it now in the podcast, right? And because of time zones or whatever, and because we're doing different platforms and all that shit now, like, but there is a gigantic, enormous amount of people who want to hear about stuff like this, who need this kind of guidance, but for one reason or another, they're afraid to ask. They don't want to ask. Like you go Google a Tony Robbins video. You can go there's all these different motivational speakers. You can watch those videos, right? But there's something special about hearing those messages from people like us who are in the community that'll resonate more than them watching it from somebody that's not within arm's reach.
Correct.
Do you agree with
No,
that?
I
Do you
agree
feel like
because Tony Robbins is making millions of dollars. So
yeah,
you know he might just be saying that to make money. Do you know what I mean?
right,
Like that's probably a lot of people kind of think of that and they look at that and they go, well, this guy can talk a big game. Like look at him, he's got millions. You know what I mean? Like that's the
right,
kind. But neither of us have millions. Like neither of us are fucking driving our fucking 120-foot yachts around because we do 6 or 7 seminars every week. Getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's not why we do this. We do this because we want to help people that we appreciate, and the people that come into both of our communities every single day who actually enjoy our content and chill with us, hang with us. We're developing relationships with those people, and those people like they're a piece of our lives. Like they fulfill us. Like they make us happy, and we make them happy. That's why they come back every day. So it's like it's a give and take, right? So if you say, hey, watch this Tony Robbins video, and people are like, I don't give a fuck about that, the reason is because they don't believe what he's saying. Because, those people that believe what he's saying is because they like him, right? But some people are like, I don't believe what he's saying. He's making too much money, Why is he making so much money off this? Like, why is he benefiting so much? He's benefiting off saying whatever we want to hear. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I'm not saying this because I want millions of dollars. I'm saying this because I want you to fucking do something with your life and have a good time doing it. Like,
right,
because I care about people. Like, this is the whole point. This is why the community understands. This is why when something like, what's happened has happened and we go to a different platform and people will come with us, is the reason they came and they moved with us is because they're there for the right reasons. They appreciate the content. They want to be there. They want to enjoy themselves. That's the whole point. Otherwise, why do it at all? You know, I get a
What
benefit, they get a benefit, we all win, really.
when have you the podcasts, right? These podcasts, have they always been uh like have you always done them as a form of just kind of reaching out to the community? You know,
Hmm.
like just
That's what I
have
started
you
doing in the first place. Like the reason I started doing podcasts in the first place is because so when I'm streaming, like, most days or whatever, and I see the names in the chat, I know them, right? I know these people, but I don't
right?
know them, right? So like I know their name and I might know, you know, what they did during the day or the week. I might know what game they play, like from what either watching their content or, you know, talking to them in my chat. But I don't really know them. Like I feel like I know them very well, but I don't always know them as well as I think. And that's the reason I started doing the podcast in the first place, is because not only am I getting people on who are also streaming, so I'm trying to help cross promote and help them out as well. Cause each platform could, like each person on their own channel could grow at different rates, right? But give someone a leg up. Why not? Like they come into your stream every single day. I go to their stream every single day. Why not help each other out? This just seems detrimental to not do that, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
also, I want to learn more about the people that I was talking to every day. So, like, I have someone on, and all of a sudden, I know, even just literally, because I always do an hour and a half, right? An hour and a half for me is like, I feel like it's a good time. Like it's not too long, not too short, and you get to know,
Right,
you
right.
get to learn a bit, and you get on different topics and whatever. But you know, um, the reason I do that is because in an hour and a half of talking to someone face to face, rather than talking to them for 3 hours, 4 hours in chat, I learn more about that person in like an hour and a half than I did in 6 months,
Oh yeah.
because they opened up and started talking about stuff that they would not normally type in the chat for whatever reason. Like, I've learned things about people, like just having a phone conversation with them. You know what I mean? Like, I get, like, full disclosure, I get like 30 or 40 DMs a day on Discord, like of people either saying hello, asking me how my day was, catching up, like asking for games, or, asking for advice on different things, like whether it be in life or whether it be in streaming or whatever it might be. I'm not a fucking, I'm no genius in any of these things, but they just want to have someone to talk to about it. Like, and a lot of people that get on these platforms, a lot of people get on these platforms. This is fulfilling to them. This is a life. This is part of their life.
Right,
You
right,
know, Gamers are very introverted people. Like they always are. Not
right.
everyone. Not everyone is like the extrovert that runs out, in the street and fucking yells and screams and talks to everyone. Like not everyone's like that. Like there's a lot of introverted
Yeah.
people. They like their life the way that it is. They don't really want
Mm.
to get involved with anything else. They're kind of like, I'm happy just doing what I'm doing. Like I'm happy. Like they play video games to escape their boring lives. That's true. It's true. Like I do that sometimes too. Like my life isn't always this exciting. It's not. You know,
Right.
I make it exciting because I like to push myself. But to be honest,
Mm.
it's just an average day person. Like, and when I play a video game, I can be like the fucking king of, I can be Thanos. Like, like I can do whatever I
Yeah.
want. And
Oh
video
yeah.
games is invigorating like that to people that are just like, you know, complacent and happy doing whatever, So it's the
That's a lot
same
for
thing.
it.
It's the same thing. So, I mean, the reason, like, again, coming back to the question, the reason I do the podcast is I want to get to know people who sit there every day watching me for whatever reason. And I want to get to know those people on a deeper level than just saying, hello, how's your day? Now I'm lurking. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to know more about these people. That's why I do the podcast in the first place. I didn't think it would be a popular thing, but we're like, what? This is episode 25, so we're obviously doing something right. And I get good feedback. I get good feedback on it, so it's good fun.
Well, that's why I stole the idea off of you. I have no problem doing it because you're brilliant, right? So if you're gonna mimic an idea from somebody, you want to mimic it off somebody that you consider to be brilliant. I'm doing it for the same reasons, though. Ironically, we never really talked about this, Adam and I, the reasons why we do it, but it's I don't know that I could add much more to what Adam just said. Like something about reaching out and really wanting to know because I genuinely care. I really do. I really care.
Yeah.
There've been a lot of moments in this whole streaming experience where people have come to me with some pretty like important life situations, and I always thank them for coming to me and confiding in me
You,
to talk to them about it. but I've always been there. Like, obviously at a much larger scale, it would be more difficult, but I do have aspirations. I'll say that to be able to make a difference
Mm.
on a larger scale, not because I want to, be like a larger than life person, but because I just feel like there's a massive epidemic in regards of a shortage of motivation, a shortage of people who care. Like, I'm the kind of person where I don't have to know you for 6 months, a year, to care about you. If you're a good person who's just had a few letdowns, you lost somebody that's important to you. You've been done wrong, and you lost your life, say, or what? Like, you're a good person, and because of that goodness, and you've been taken advantage of, and you've lost all hope, and you need somebody to fucking shake you up and remind you that there's a good lesson to be learned in this. This isn't the end. Like, I kind of want to be that person because I've been there. The reason why it's important to me is because I've been on the brink of giving up before. I have. I've been on the brink of saying, you know what? Fuck this world. Fuck people. You can all go sit on a dick for all I care. Because me caring and being soft just doesn't matter. Like, I've been there. I've been
Yeah.
there. But I didn't. I never went there. I've like. So I mean, I've seen it. Like, I've seen, like, what, like, I've gotten to the line where I'm like, should I just cross over and just not give a fuck? But then it's always been like love for my fellow man, for my fellow person, that has made me turn around and say no, because that's not who I am.
Yeah.
There's a lot of power in caring about you. There's a lot of power in loving you. So I'm gonna continue down that road.
Yeah. And I think it's also it's not just you're not just helping someone else, you're also helping yourself as well, I think, as in,
Oh yeah,
in
oh yeah.
fulfilling that promise to someone of either talking to them or being there for them or whatever it might be. I think that benefits both parties. So it's not a one-way street when it comes to actually giving a shit. Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that don't give a fuck, they just kind of like, it's my life. I don't give a fuck about anyone else in it. And then all of a sudden something happens in their life, right? That affects them incredibly. And they look around them and they go, who do I talk to about this? And no one wants to listen to them. No one wants to be there. No one wants to give a fuck about that person because that person didn't give a fuck about anyone else. So human mentality is like that. Like, it doesn't stop. This is why, there's paid professionals for all these different things. But, you know, if you break off all the support, because there's always going to be people that care about you, right? No matter whether you give a shit about them or not, because people care about other people. That's human emotions. People care about people because they, like, if that person just shuts everyone out, the people that care are like, oh, dude, like, do you want to talk about it? But that person's not listening. Like, they're like, no, of course I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk to anyone about it. Like, otherwise I would have talked to you about it. You know what I mean? But
Right.
deep down, they might actually want to talk about it, but they're just being stubborn as fuck. Like, that's, I always say, like, to a lot of the viewers and a lot of the people in my life and a lot of friends and family and stuff, is that you can't help anyone who doesn't help themselves, right? That's just a fact. Like, you no matter how much, like, say if someone says, like, no matter how much someone looks like they need help and they need help and you're trying to help them, not in like, any situation where it might be something physical, but like what I'm saying is, like, say it's something as simple as carrying the groceries, right? Say they obviously need help. They've got like 6 bags hanging off them. Like, they're looking directly at the front door and they're like, they've got the keys in one hand. They're never going to get the keys up to the door. And you think to yourself, I'm going to help this person. You go and grab the keys, like, nope, I can do it myself, kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? And they're like, they don't want your help. So you're like, okay, I won't help you. You help yourself. You do it. They struggle. They break something on the way in. Like, the bag breaks. The milk goes everywhere. Like, the apple rolls out, the dog steals it. All this kind of stuff. They finally open the door. They've lost half the groceries. They've got the shits. They're angry. The reason they're angry is because they didn't ask for help when it was there. They could have avoided all that shit. They could have avoided all those problems if they just said to that person, yeah, no worries, can you open the door? Because you know what? Like, it doesn't take much to, like, make, like, less problems for yourself. You're not being a burden to people who ask you if you need a hand. Those people have already offered the service of giving you a hand. You're not then burdening that person by accepting their offer in the first place. If no one offers around you, that just means you need better friends. All right. So like, it's all it is just like, if everybody around you doesn't give a shit and you care, go find people that care, because again, you can't help those who can't help themselves. It's just like, that's just the world we live in. Like, you can't help everyone, and those people who are self-detrimenting and they're like, fuck the world, fuck you, fuck everyone, fuck all this shit. Like, those people are always going to be the same. They're never going to change. And then they do change and they turn around and they go, oh, I really need help with this. And they turn around and there's no one standing next to them to help them. That's why. Because the negativity, no one wants to sit there and cop that. Like, you don't need that. You're trying to be positive and someone sucking the energy out of the room. Like, it's hard. It's hard.
So, one of the things, it's so funny because there's so many things that we touch on that could be like whole giant subjects of their own. And then, so I will try not to digress too much in this, but this is something that I've thought about often, right? So, we all know people like that, right? We all know people. We all know people that they could really use help, in a lot of different ways, but for one reason or another, they push it away. They seem to push it away. They don't want any part of it. That's something. That's kind of part of the reason why I wanted to make. Like I do like streaming, but that's kind of part of the reason why I wanted to make videos that are recorded that we can, then put out on on like a YouTube or something similar, because I believe everybody does want to be helped. I just believe that. It's just that I believe there are certain people who, for some reason or another, they they feel strange about accepting it, like that, like maybe
Mm.
like they feel like they'll be failing, or they'll be weak, or what have you. But I don't know. I've always been of the belief that, to a degree, everybody wants somebody to care. Like, it would be hard for somebody to convince me that they can live their life, you know, not knowing whether or not anybody cares. Like, it's going to be really hard for you to convince me on that, because there's a lot of people that try to play that role because, for one reason or another, they think it's cool to think that way. Like, oh, I don't need love. I don't need to believe in anything. I'm this kind of a person where I believe in absolutely nothing, but I'm living my life. Okay, like, you're full of shit, because then what the fuck's the point of living? Like, there has to be a reason to do this.
Yeah.
There's a reason to walk your dog. There's a reason to take a shower. Like, there's a fucking reason behind everything. So the that's something that I often think about, or I think about, like, like, how do I reach out to, how do I help somebody who I know wants to be helped but has convinced themselves that they don't want to be helped.
Well, I think the
I don't.
best, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, the best way that I found when it comes to that kind of thing, and I'm guilty of this sometimes too. Just leave the door open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just so you can't, like, the more you push onto someone. So if someone doesn't want help, right, or they just think they don't, right, the more you push them, the more they won't want it. Okay, then no one's gonna, like, if you badger someone, like like I said, I've been a culprit of this too. If I want to be left alone and people just keep saying, "Are you okay? Do you need this?" It pisses me off. I'm like, just leave me alone. Just fuck off. Like, I don't need this right now. I got things to deal with outside of whatever's going on here. And you get in that mentality because you're like, I don't. It's not that I don't need the help. It's just don't want it at that point in time, right? Because I'm dealing with other things, and I've got too much going on. So I'm just like, you know what? As much as I appreciate you caring, just leave me alone, right? But people, they push, and it makes me, the next time I need help, I'm not going to ask that person because they badgered me and they pushed me and they prodded at me like a test subject, basically, until I fucking broke and, like, accepted their help reluctantly. Like, that's not what we're talking about. For those kind of people with that kind of mentality, all you got to do, and I know everybody whoever is going to listen to this, every single one of you will know exactly what I'm talking about. You all have that one person that no matter how many times you ask them, you say, hey, do you need help? Hey, do you need help? They're always just like, can you just not? Like, it's going to be that person, that pessimistic person. That's fine. They can do that. But all you have to do is say, hey, man, if you ever want to talk, I'm here. And then leave it. Leave it. Just kick the door open for them. And if they decide to walk through it, good for them. And if they start to slam in your face, just move on. Like, there is literally nothing else you can do. You've just got to have the door open, because you never know. It might be a week from now, it might be a month from now, it might be a year from now. That person comes through that door and they go, hey man, I thought about what you said. They might have no one else, right? I thought about what you said and I'm ready to talk. And you didn't badger them, because if you badger them, it might be 2 years from now, like, because they're like, fuck that guy, he's so annoying, like I don't want to talk to him about anything. Like, right. So like you kicked the door open, you said, the door's open for you if you need me, and you went on with everything else, and you said, but whatever, you didn't worry about it too much, but that person kept it here. Like, they kept it. They're like, out of all the people that said, are you okay, this guy, he just said, are you okay? If you are, you are. If you're not, let me know. And that was it. I think I want to talk to that person, because that person isn't like trying to do it for themselves. That person had me in mind, but they gave me the time to think it over in a different way, right? And I think that's what you got to do for some people. And those kind of people, like everybody does. You just kick the door open, you say, hey, if you need me, I'm here. That's all you can do.
That is so true, bro. That is so true, because and I know you've heard from people that are like, I really want to help this person. I know I can, I know I can help them. I try so hard. I know somebody, and she may be listening for all I know, but the I tried so hard to to make him feel good, to help him see the way, and it's just it just push him further and further away. He just gets angrier and angrier. Like, for people like that, right? What Adam just said is a very powerful thing to do. Like, because there are some people who really just, for one reason or another, don't want to get help, and this is the absolute truth. You cannot waste too much energy on somebody who doesn't want to be helped, because psychologically for you, it's hard to take that rejection over and over, and it can make you feel less motivated to continue doing that to other people who would want that. So
That's right.
one of the best things to do is what Adam just said, is you let them know you love them, you let them know you care, and you let them know you understand, and that the door is open when they're ready. And that's it, because guess what? When you do that, then those who genuinely just don't want to be helped and want to continue just down a life of heartache and pain will do that. But those who do want the help but just need life to slap them around a little bit more, they'll go and get slapped around a little bit more, and then eventually they'll crawl back to that door. And when that door's open, they'll be ready. That's very true. And that's a very powerful way to to handle that, because like what you said before, like you could be trying to help somebody, but you end up annoying the shit out of them, where they're like, fuck, that's the annoying person. But it's also not good for you either, you know what I mean? Because who the fuck wants that? Like, because then you kind of feel rejected yourself, like, god damn, I thought I was able to help people, but this guy really doesn't.
It doesn't help either party. Like, it's not helpful to anyone. I think you want to have a conversation with someone. Like, it's the same thing, right? If you're having a constructive debate with someone, right? Mm-hmm. They have a point of view and the other person has a point of view, and you're discussing those point of views, right? It's the same thing with any communication with any human being in your entire fucking life, right? If it's a two-way street, it works. If it's not, it doesn't. So, like, if I'm having a debate with someone about a topic that I disagree with them about, that's a great debate. I love that debate, because I'm not only am I able to express myself to that person's expressing themselves to me, and you know what? At the end of that conversation, if it's constructive, and if everyone is brought the points and whatever they have to the table, and they have a really good conversation about things they disagree about, you might get to the end of that with a more balanced perspective on whatever the topic was, and be like, actually, you know what? I agree with that, or I agree with that, and it might change your perspective in an educational manner. You know what I mean? So that's why debating has always been very interesting to me, but I never did it because I was petrified of public speaking, right? So when I was a kid, I could not stand in front of people and talk, because I was very introverted. Like when I was younger, I spent a lot of time behind a book and a lot of time in front of a computer, and I didn't really engage with people very much. I kind of just did my own thing. You know, it's all relatable to, you know, schooling and bullying and all that stuff. You know, it's embedded in you because you're afraid to talk to people because you're afraid you're going to get punched in the face. But, you know, when it comes to debating, like one of my favorite things to do, and this is another reason why I'm really excited about podcasting, is listen to debates on podcasts with two people who don't agree with something, right? Mm-hmm. Doesn't make it an argument. Right? It makes it a discussion, right? When you have two people who agree with each other, having a conversation about something, you don't learn anything from that. Like you just learn that they're basically just rubbing each other's shoulders. Like it's like yeah, I agree with your point, I agree with your point, and then and it kind of just ends. You know what I mean? Like it's like we're just talking about one side of something. It's like anything to do with politics, right? I love to listen to everything, right? I'll listen to like one thing over here, and I'll listen to one thing over here, and then I'll bring those two ideas together, and I'll be like, okay, what do I think of that? Because that's education. That's perspective. Like, if you just believe in one thing and always listen to one thing, you're never going to learn anything. You're just going to be like, I'm just going to go on my little ferry road down the road, and I'm just going to stare down the path, and I'm going to have my blinders on, and anyone else's opinion means fuck all because I don't believe it, because I don't want to know about it. You know what I mean?
They want to be in their own echo chamber.
Yeah, your little bubble, right? If you always have if you literally you say, you know, you play video games against people who are always terrible at video games and you're playing against those people, you're a god, right? You're the best player ever. But if you play against guys who are just either equal skilled or even better than you get better as a player, right? This is what I found with Warzone. When I first started playing Warzone, I was the biggest bot you've ever seen in your fucking life. And that was only maybe a year and a half ago. I was so bad, I couldn't even turn around in time for someone to shoot. I couldn't pick up a gun, couldn't put a plate in. I was terrible. I've always been okay at FPS games, but when I first played Warzone, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so stupid. I'm getting shot from halfway across the map. And I'm like, is that guy cheating or am I just staring in the wrong direction? I have no idea. But I started playing because I was always playing with people who were you know, average day people who just play once a week and after work on a Friday and had a few drinks and we were all terrible and we were just having a laugh. It was fun, don't get me wrong, but we were bad. Then I started streaming and I started playing with people who are way better than me, right? I'm talking you know, the Blitties of the world. These guys are top 100 players in the fucking whole world, and I'm just get to play with them. I'm this is the best thing ever. I suck so bad, but watching them and learning from them and playing with them made me a better player. And now I'm not too bad. And you know, I'm playing with all these guys and I keep up with them now. Right? And then I go play with my mates who are the guys I used to play with, say on the Friday or whatever, and I just shit all over them. And they're like, how'd you get so good at this game? But I'm not actually that good. I'm just better because I was playing with better players. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. You know,
are you saying that will resonate and reach out to more people if we debate on our next podcast on Kenw1ck and Rugged at Zilla round 3, the debate.
Yeah, just find topics we don't agree on. You know, I think it'd be really hard to find a topic we disagree on, though. I think that would be very, very hard because we're very similar people. So I think on a personal level, I don't think we could find a topic we incredibly disagreed on, to be honest.
So I agree, and I was prepared for that. But what you said is true. You're right. You're 100% right. There's something about if you're just hearing information coming at you, right, and you're receiving it, that's just you receiving information. On the flip side, if you're watching two opposing conversations go at one another, now you're receiving plus or minus. Now you're receiving information that's canceling out one another. Now you'll still agree with one side, but now you'll know why, because there's a debate going on. There's information exchange. So with thinking along those lines, right? Sometimes the things that we talk about when it comes to self-motivation and pursuing the impossible, you know, the art of achievable, all that shit, right? Sometimes it's hard for people to you know, to put themselves in our shoes, regardless of how many times we tell them that we had to start at the bottom like them, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think it would be helpful to the community? And when I say the community, I mean in general, just the whole streaming community, people that you reach out to, people that I reach out to. If we were to have podcasts like this, once in a while or whatever, where we bring on people who either trying to think, how do I word this? Like people who basically say, look, I believe what you guys are saying, but look, this is what I've done, and I failed at every fucking corner, and look, and I'm happy with it. This is just what it is. Like I believe like what you guys are saying is a bunch of hoorah, and it's not it's not really achievable.
I
Or do
think,
you think?
look, I think it'd be beneficial to that person, but to get that person on in the first place would be very difficult because you got to understand, like, a lot of people who have that mentality to begin with aren't going to want to be told what to do, and this is the issue we have again. So like this is the issue we just talked about 10 minutes ago. Whereas like if you get people on and they don't want to listen to your advice, it's a waste of time, right? But the other thing is if you have a podcast and people come and watch it, it's actually more beneficial to people if they listen rather than talk. If that makes sense. So like I understand what you're coming up with here. I understand the concept. You're kind of thinking down the lines of can we bring on people who might be less motivated and motivate them to do more, and that would be a benefit to them. I understand what perspective you're coming from.
Well, but not just them, but like I wonder if somebody watching that happen will. I'm having difficulty articulating because maybe it's not a fit. But what I was thinking somewhere along the lines of like if people see it actually happening, like the
They
motive,
might believe it more.
like the art of the motivate, like the art of somebody actually being moved. But you know what? That could be something for down the
Yeah.
road because that's still something that I'm very much interested in, Adam. I still feel that because of everything that I've experienced and gone through, and the way my brain works, I still think that I have the ability to really
Get through to people.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Platforms like this is the way we do it.
Yep.
Streaming on all these different places that we can, trying to interact with our communities as much as we can, trying to help people as much as we can. I think that is the way you do that. And I understand like the idea. It sounds great on paper. Don't get me wrong. Like I think it's a great idea, and I would be all about it. But the logistics of it would be the hard part. Like the organization of it would be the more difficult solution to that too. Like I think
Yeah, no,
organizing.
I think you're 100% right, though. You're right. As I think about it, in my head, see, that's why sometimes you have to get ideas out of your head, right? Because like
Oh,
otherwise,
100%.
like sometimes in your head it makes sense, but then you talk about it and you realize like, oh fuck. But you're right though, because for somebody to get to that point where they're gonna come like on a show, right? And have to now defend the point. What are the chances that we're really gonna get even if they do get motivated and see things our way? What are the chances that they're gonna own up to that, live?
I don't think so. But yeah, I understand. I definitely understand the concept. I think I don't know. Like well, the thing you just said then is actually kind of interesting to me. I'm gonna expand on it a little bit. With the whole talking, to someone about something. So the reason, like I always say, and you always say, my DMs are open, is not because like I want people to bombard me with stuff that whatever it might be. I want people to take advantage of it in a way that's going to benefit them as well. Like when I have an idea in my head, and I have something I'm trying to get my head around. I'm like, say I have a new idea for the business, for an example, and I'm thinking to myself, how do I implement this? Like, I don't sit there and write it down and brainstorm it by myself. I'll call someone. So I call someone. I'm like, hey, I got an idea that I just want to bounce it off you. Usually that person is either my dad or my brother or whoever. And I call them and I'm like, I've got an idea about something that I want to do with the business. I think, can I just bounce it off you and see what you think about that? Right? Mm-hmm. And they might have no idea what I'm talking about, but just talking to them, talking it out aloud to someone else, even if they have nothing to say back, I've already discovered it's a bad idea or a good idea. Like talking to yourself around the house or whatever can also help that. But if you're talking to someone physically and they have a different opinion or idea of what to expand on whatever you're saying, that might actually be a perfect way to to incorporate that into whatever you're doing. So like I do that literally all the time. My dad gets the shits with me calling him all the time because I'm like, because my dad is just me, just older. Like he started a business from literally nothing as well. Like he Every single person in my family is self-employed. Every single one. Okay? Not one person in my family has a job outside of their own business.
Wow.
This is the thing about my dad, he started as a musician, which is his passion. He's always been a musician. Like, he started playing at local pubs and, he had residencies at pubs and he used to do this. And he said to himself, look, music's not paying the bills. You know what I mean? It pays, but it doesn't pay the bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he thought to himself, okay, how do I make more money in the same thing I'm doing, but as like a passive income, right? Mm-hmm. So what he started doing is he said, okay, well, I've got a PA system that I don't use 3 days a week. Maybe I rent that out to someone who needs to use it, right? So what he did was he rented that PA system out 3 days a week and made money doing nothing, right? Just renting that out to someone else because someone else might not have been able to afford that PA system. And then with the money that he earned passively from giving that PA system out, he bought a second PA system, right? And then a third PA system, and then 10 PA systems. And all of a sudden, he's got a business of renting out PA systems and paying more than what he's doing on a daily basis. So it's gone from a passive income to an extended income. And all he did was start something, just do it. He just started a new idea and he said, oh, I don't even know if this is going to work. And look, along the roads, you probably have a whole bunch of broken PA systems that you have to fix. You'll probably, have to repair and replace a whole bunch of stuff. It's going to cost you money. But in the end, you have the money from no money. Like, you've created something out of nothing. And he did that. And then all of a sudden he thought, well, I have enough money now to start buying more. So he bought more. And he said, well, instead of renting them out, why don't I sell them? Right? So I can still rent them out, but I can sell them as well. And so that's what he started doing. So he started investing more and more money into buying things and selling things. Right? Then renting things, because renting things, yes, it has a more consistent income, but the cost is less. So, like, say if you rent something else for like $50, you only make $50 on however many hours you rent it out, right? If you can sell something for $200, you can make $100 or whatever it might be on that thing, and you can sell as many as you can, as often as you want, as long as they're selling, right? If you're renting something out, you have a set time, you're only going to make that amount of money. So he thought, I'll just do both, right? And he's doing that. And then now, 20 years of hard work down the line, he has an entire warehouse of wholesale equipment that he rents and sells to giant fucking entertainment centers, right? And to the point where it was literally turnover, I don't know the exact figures, but it was a lot of money, right? And so what happened was, at the end of the day, he then said to my brother, and my brother then worked for him for like 7-8 years, and then he said, hey, and now my brother takes over, right? And so my dad retires, happy. My brother has a job, and I always looked at that as like, I'll never tell him, by the way, but I always looked at that like, okay, I could do that. Like, I could do something like that. And when I first left school and I started uni, I did a year course and I was like, I don't want to do this. I was like, it's not because I didn't want to complete it. It's just because I looked at the future of it and I was like, I'm going to be 10 years down the line making like 50 grand a year. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that seems pointless. And I said to myself, okay, what can I do? When you're literally standing there and you go, I don't know what to do. And you're like, I don't know what my future is. I don't know what my next job is. I don't know what I'm going to achieve doing anything. I don't pick something that is going to be a job in 10 years time. You know what I mean? Or you don't have to come up with an entrepreneurial idea today. You know what I mean? Like, and you're like, I'm going to come up with $1 million idea. Here's my pen and pad. Go. Not one person does that. You know what I mean? No, they get out in the world and they start a job or something, and then they look at that job and they go through all the motions of that job and they look at the business of that job and they look at all this stuff going on around them and they go, how could I do that better? Right? That's how people start businesses. That's how I started my business. I worked for someone for 8 years. I looked at everything they were doing. I had every single job in that business, like from front of house to back of house, everything. I then got as good as I could at my actual job without surpassing my boss, basically. And then I said to myself, I could do this job, but I could do it better than you. And that wasn't me being cocky. That was just I literally accumulated all of the problems and all of the pains and all the issues that this company was having. And I said, how do I do it the opposite? Literally, like, how do I start? I took all the groundwork and I said, let's start doing it differently because I think that'll work. So I gave it a go, and it's a risk, right? But you do it, it pays off. Sometimes it'll pay well, sometimes it doesn't. But you got to take the risk in order to receive the reward, right? Like, it's got
You,
to be
you, you,
done.
s- you, by the way, thanks for sharing that, man.
Mm.
What a fucking, what a great story, bro. And for it to be your story, right? About your life and how you got to this. But you said something that's got my, it's got the light bulbs going off in my head, right? You said, you thought about all of the different ways that you can do this better, right? That you can do this differently. Um, and it's got me thinking about like because you know the traditional way of motivational speaking per se, right, is to make these courses, sell them for thousands of dollars, fly people out to these giant seminars,
Yeah.
like very very large scale, right? But there's a whole market of people that need it who don't have the money to invest in all that.
Yeah.
There's an opportunity there for me or us, because you very much feel similarly to I do in terms of being able to move people. Because look, Adam, let's I think it's fair to say to a degree, even though it we do it ourselves within, to a degree that's a pretty nice privilege to have, right? The idea of being self-motivated. It's not like it's not fully a privilege per se because we do it. I get that.
Hmm.
But now that we have it, it's a privilege to have. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah,
because
but
like,
you
I
developed it as a person, like through life, like because you had to
right, right,
be, right?
right, right, right.
Yeah,
So having that right makes me feel like there's almost like an obligation,
to
you
teach
know,
it.
right, right, to
Mm.
to to figure out how to get it out there, to figure out a way to have the message resonate with so many. And it's so funny because right now I'm kind of spitfiring live while we're streaming, but this is something that I'm probably going to want to talk to you. And I feel like we talked about this last time, but we kind of were like, oh yeah, we'll talk about it. Then life, life happens,
Of
and a
course.
year passes by, and now we're here. But I really feel like there's an opportunity because I could still go down the path I'm going, and you could still go down the path you're going, right?
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean that part of the journey can't be to meet at one little point and dive into an opportunity, together to see how that works out because you have way too much going on that's going to blow up I'm a firm believer of this. Something magical is in store for you. I mean, you're already going through something magical, but I think it's going to manifest into something kind of larger than we can comprehend right now. And I've always felt that way about myself too. But along this journey, I feel like there's an opportunity there. I don't know how. It's just an idea in my head, but it's something that I definitely want to be able to chat with you a little bit more about because of what we talked about today, but also like in the last couple of days, we both opened up to each other about something that we haven't really talked about too much in our past,
Hmm.
and we realized like, holy fuck! So along with our strengths, we even have similar weaknesses.
Yeah,
Yeah, we won't go into that now, but you get what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, the so you know what? I'm gonna have that on me because I kind of feel like with everything going on, you have more than you could chew. But I'm gonna hold myself accountable to follow up with you and have those conversations and see if we can maybe collaborate on an idea to reach out and make an even larger difference in both of our communities. I'm just going
Hmm.
to say the community because I don't feel like we have separate communities. I know we do, but you know what I'm saying. Like if
I
anybody
agree.
ever if anybody ever came to me for help and they don't follow me but they follow you, I would still love him or her as a person. I would
Yeah,
still say I would still say, yeah, man, like how can I help you? What's going on? Talk to me. I
yeah.
would never turn away, you
It'd
know?
be the same. I think. Well, this is the thing, right? And like on the platforms that we're all on all the time. we know everyone. Like, how many times do you go into someone else's chat and you see someone you know, right?
Oh my god,
Every
all the
fucking
time.
day. Every
Yeah.
day I'll go into someone else's chat and I'll be like, I can't believe this person is this person. But everybody knows everyone, man. You cannot escape it, embrace it, right? And that's the whole reason, like, I call it the Zilla Patch community, is because every single person that comes in here is from a different community, but has now formed with this community. So I consider everyone part of the same community. So it's like, it's very like this, you've got to think of it like that. Like, a lot of people think of it in the opposite way, right? Because they're thinking of a way to make money, right? So like, a lot of people who are on streaming services and stuff, it's a job. I get it. You got to make money. You got to make bank. It's important as well, right? But a lot of people take advantage of that, and people know those people in ways that drives people away from you, right? So if it's the instant gratification thing again that we just spoke about. Like, if you're in a smaller community and all you care about is subscriptions, right? You're going about it the wrong way. All right?
Yes.
People should want to subscribe to you because they enjoy your content, not because you want them to subscribe because you want to make money, right? And I say
100%.
that to everyone in my community all the fucking time. We get subs. Like, it's because people want to support the community. That money doesn't, like, I don't take that money and go and fucking, gamble it away at the fucking casino. Like, I don't take that money and go and invest it in something else that I'm going to take, and I'm going to be like, hey, I got my $1,000 now. See you later. Like, I'm not doing that, right? I'm not doing that. It's all it is it's a different way of just like supporting people that you enjoy. Like, the reason you pay for Netflix isn't because you want to pay for Netflix. You pay for Netflix because you like the content on Netflix. If you didn't like the content on Netflix, you wouldn't fucking sub. You wouldn't fucking do it, right? You just go and pay for a movie, like, or whatever. Like, it's the same shit, different concept, right? This is an interactive chat where you come in and you talk to someone, you get something out of it. It's a big deal. Like, it's very enjoyable. People that have millions and millions of followers and millions of subscribers, that's their job. You know what I mean? They had to start somewhere, though. They all had to start somewhere. And I bet you they didn't ask for a cent until they had enough people to support them. Yeah. But the people that have like 1,000 followers and are asking for subs, and that's like, I have to pay the bills. Man, they're going about it the wrong way, dude. And that's my personal opinion. That might not be the same for everyone, but honestly, I don't think that makes any sense. I think you've got to create your own wealth, in doing other things, and then do this as something that like you want to do. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, so no, you're no, I feel the same way, dude. Yeah, yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? Because when we do what we do, when we talk about what we talk about, right? Our purpose, our purpose is much greater than an income.
Mm-hmm.
Like way like life eons greater than that. It's about making a genuine difference. So I want to share something that is it okay with you? Because Rumpel actually he shared something about his life
absolutely.
in the chat.
Go for it.
Okay, that has to do with
Yeah.
Because it's actually this was about 15 minutes ago, so it may not perfectly relate, but it kind of relates to what we've been talking about. So he talked about. He says I was in a fuck world of a situation for a few years when I was younger. Then I met someone and I had kids, and that all changed for me. I went from not giving a fuck to actually caring. Um, Let me see, not for me, but for giving my kids the lifestyle that I wanted them to have. I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people go through so much and just give up. And sometimes they just need something to give them that motivation, hope, and meaning. And that's how I think anyway. So let me explain to you why Rumple, like I believe 1 million fucking percent. So Adam, the people who are very really difficult to get through or appear to be very difficult to get through, right? The in my opinion, I think everybody has something. Everybody has something that they really love, something that really means a lot to them. Some people are open about it, the really tough, stubborn ones who, oh yeah, I don't need help, I'm fucking doing my own thing. I'm amazing. Those people are are the ones who hold that really close to the vest, but there's always something that moves you. Like, you
Hmm.
care about something, you love something more than you love yourself. That's the key, in my opinion. That's the ticket to being able to find that special kind of motivation to help you achieve the things that you want to achieve. Because I think you and I are similar in that, like, if we want the very best of us, if we want to put the very best of us towards a certain goal, it needs to be greater than just us. I could do something if I knew at the end, oh, I'm gonna get this or I'm gonna get that. It's gonna make me feel good. Sure, I could do it. But if I know that the impact is gonna change one other person's life, like, dramatically, or it's gonna impact thousands, in a special kind of way, that gives me a special kind of strength.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
No,
like that,
I
like,
do.
it really does. Everybody, Rumple, dude, you made me think about that, because that's the key. Like, the key is to helping people understand that you don't have to love what I love, you don't have to believe what I believe, but I know that you love something. I know that there's something that's really, really important to you, and some way, somehow, your success and you living a powerful life is going to help that one thing that you love. I don't know if I got my point across, but I
No,
wanted to get
I'll
that thought out
um
there.
I'll extend on the point because
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying, and you know, it's the difference when it comes to like believing something outside of what you're doing. So basically, what's happened with Rumple's life is he has gone from having very little to having a lot, right? When it comes to responsibilities, when it comes to, caring for something outside of personal things, like, having children. I know for a lot of people, like for me personally, obviously I don't have kids. I understand why people have children, but as soon as people have kids, priorities change, right? Because you have someone to take care of. You have this little, person who literally sticks their fingers in light sockets, and the only way that they will survive that is if you stop them from doing that. And that's your responsibility now. You know what I mean? Like, that's bigger than you. Your priorities change because you're like, well, I used to worry about this, but now I don't worry about that because I have better things or bigger things to worry about. Now that's perspective, right? You can do that with
Mhm.
anything. You can do that with anything. Okay. If all you care about, or the biggest thing in your life you're worried about is what the weather's going to be like tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, it's of no significance, right? It's like it's just because you have nothing better to worry about. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it was your job, you know, to not get rained on, that would be a bigger thing to that, right? Because you're like, fuck, I
Yeah.
really hope it doesn't rain because I needed to make some money today, right?
Right. Right.
So that then you would probably have a higher purpose to that. But then the other thing is, if it rains and like someone you care about is allergic to rain, right? Then it becomes a higher purpose again. So like it's a perspective thing, right? And when it comes to growing anything, whether it be your Twitch channel or whether it be your life, whether it be in work or whether it be in family or whatever, and even in just a personal way, don't envy those that have already done it. Okay? So if you look at the most successful people in the world, don't envy those people for being successful and think to yourself, I hate those people because they're so successful. All right? Don't think like that. Think about how do you become that successful. All right? Start slow, work your way up. And you know what? If you set yourself a high benchmark like that, like someone who you don't like, you might not necessarily idolize that person, but you might envy that person just because they're so successful. Use that as a motivation tool to like grow and get closer to that person and be like, hey, look, you know, now I'm successful. And you might not be as successful as that person. You have to accept that. Like, you might not be, Thor, okay? Like, you might not be Chris Hemsworth. You're not gonna get there. Like, you're never gonna look that good. You're never gonna, achieve what he's achieved. But you might. If you
Yeah.
just set the benchmark, you know, you're not setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for a goal in mind. And even if you make it halfway there, you've gone further than nowhere.
Right. Right.
So don't envy the people that are more successful than you. Actually use them as a tool for motivation.
So, what you just said is it's not a light comment. That's a very, very powerful statement in life in general. And I just want to add this to it. it's if you're not there now, like in today's day and age, as a person, if you're the kind of person that, when somebody achieves something that you really wanted, and you see them, and the first feeling that you get is kind of this jealousy, or maybe it's even stronger and it turns into envy. Don't guilt yourself. Don't feel guilty. It's okay. A lot of the things that Adam and I, I don't mean to speak to you, I'm sorry, but I feel like this one thing I know we have in common. A lot of the things that a lot of traits that people would consider to be strong character traits, we didn't learn overnight, right? I mean, Adam, is that fair to say? Like,
Oh, that
like
is, yeah.
it, it takes a.
I wasn't like, I'm not always motivated now even. Like, I have days where I'm like, I want to get out of bed today. Like that's fair to say. Like, we weren't, we didn't grow up being like, I want to be an astronaut. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
sometimes
So
it's different for everyone. It is.
So so what I want to encourage people, right? I want to encourage people to just like be fair, be easy on yourself a little bit when it comes to this. Like if you feel jealousy towards something right now, then don't think like, oh fuck, man. Like I know what they're talking about, but I can't help it. I think it's fucked up that this guy has it. Fine, whatever. Let yourself think that, okay? But you can begin to train yourself otherwise. Start asking yourself, why do I feel jealous that this person has it? If I was able to have the skills that this person has and achieve those same things, would I even care that they have it too? You probably wouldn't. You know what I mean? Begin training yourself otherwise, because I promise you, the things that you're jealous of, once you obtain them, guess what? The jealousy goes away as if it never happened. And that's a
Hmm.
fucking fact. That's just human nature.
Yeah.
Um, so I would encourage people to just look. A lot of the things that we're talking about, there's certain skills and character traits that take some time to build, but you can get there. That's the beauty of it. You can't convince me that you can't, because I remember the person that I was. I remember what it took to become, who I am today. So anyway, uh, by the way, like I know like we've gone like way over, and it's super late on your side, so don't feel like you're gonna be
That's all
rude
good. I was
if
enjoying the
you want to.
conversation, bro.
If,
I
yeah,
have nowhere to be. It's Saturday night. I'm fine.
yeah.
It's all
But
good.
like, I've honestly like it's just that because like I kind of had a feeling this was going to happen, only because like I feel like all of this needs to be talked about. To be quite honest, I really feel like it needs to be talked about more consistently and more targeted, because you know how like we've said this several times throughout this entire discussion, that you could take kind of any one given area of the things that we talked about and even just dive like into that for like
Oh yeah, we could do it for
one
10
to two
hours.
hours. But that's part of the reason why like I would definitely love to be able to uh kind of more consistently have discussions along those lines, uh because I really think that there's a need for it. Could be wrong, but I have
Mm,
a funny feeling that if we gave people like a forum, right, to go to every month, 2 weeks, what have you, where they could get these doses of what reality can be like, of what it takes to make the little switch necessary to have a dramatic change in your life, they'll come. I
yeah,
really believe that. I believe that they'll come.
I agree, and that's
Um,
the same reason like we got so much good feedback on the first time we talked, because
yeah.
it's the same thing. Like, how many people were like at the end of that podcast that we did last time, the chat was chanting "When's part two?" Okay, like if you go back and watch the podcast, go like the last 10 minutes. All you see in the chat is "When's part two? When's part two?" Like, and then and like it is a token to you, and it's a token to the way we talk. Like, because I just think people really get something out of it. And you know what? On the other point you just said about like the monthly thing, I have an idea, and I'm gonna put it to you now. Okay. This is
Let's
something.
do it
This
live
is an
on the stream,
interesting. This is an
everybody.
interesting idea. Okay, and I think the chat like will agree. Um, of all the things we talked about in the last two podcasts, right? We could go back and document that, right? We could go back and we could write the points down. We could put them in a list and whatever. And if we take each one of those points and then we literally start like have a new podcast with that one point and we just go down that one topic for like an hour or so, that could be a vibe. Let's just do it. Let's do, and this is my request. And let's find some time and let's do like a 1 hour segment, maybe once every like week or 2 weeks or whatever it might be, where we just do like a motivational video podcasting. So like separate to the main podcast that I have now, right? And we could double it for both platforms. So you could put it on your YouTube or your Twitch or whatever you want, and then we could do it over here as well. I could put it on all my platforms and just be the two of us, right? We have everyone who, like during the week or during the 2 weeks prior to it, we can reach out to people and be like, hey, we're going to talk about this topic. Do you have any questions in specific to this? Or would you like to come in and talk and ask about something like this? If we did that, I reckon it'd be beneficial to not only you and me, but to everyone in the community, because sometimes I find it too, like I watch a video on YouTube or something and it has a little bit of motivation in it. And if I'm having a real unmotivated day, it kind of lifts me up a little bit. Like not like 100%, maybe 10%, you know, like maybe 5%, whatever it does. If I just listen to that, like I listen to a podcast or whatever it might be, and I learn something new, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like it gets me out of my own head. You know what I mean? Like it gets me out of my own head thinking about something else. And then maybe, you know, that person that hasn't pressed that live button before hears it, even if one person hears it, right? That person hasn't hit the live button, hears it, and they get that little motivation for the day, and they hit that live button after they listen to the podcast, and all of a sudden, 10 months later, they got like 2,000 followers, and they're killing it. That might be the reason. They might not remember it's the reason, but it might be the reason. So I think
1,000,000%.
what we can do is, we'll take both podcasts, but we'll go through them. I'll go through them with you. We'll write down some points, list everything, because obviously we can expand on every single topic that we've talked about. And for those topics that people might have missed, and obviously it'll be on YouTube after this, and I'll cut it and put it together for you guys. But we'll take every single point and every single topic we talked about, and we'll expand on it for an hour every 2 weeks. Would that be fair?
I think that's a genius idea, because we both agree that there were a lot of topics that supported kind of other main topics that could be topics just themselves in and of themselves. So I think that's a great idea. I think we should do this. So I like the idea of every 2 weeks, and I think what we'll do, right? You tell me, what you think of this. I think we should, we'll articulate to the communities. We'll articulate to them, why we're doing this, what we feel the impact will be, and then we'll give them the opportunity to determine whether or not it turns into a weekly thing. If they say, guys, this is changing my life, this is making me feel better, this is doing that, any chance you guys are willing to invest into a weekly? Of course I fucking will,
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure that it's doing just that. You know what I mean?
Of
Like
course.
if it is having that one thing, so let's do that. Look, we'll do it. We'll start it like every 2 weeks from now. We'll go through the exercise that you just talked about. Because bro, like that, you made me think of something when you just you played out that scenario of like sometimes like something motivates you, a song or a certain video. Sometimes you'll play it just because you want that dose of motivation. So for me, there's this YouTube video of a guy named Devin Lorette. Do you know who Devin Lorette is?
I do not.
So Devin Lorette is a world champion arm wrestler. Unbelievable story, unbelievable guy. I'm not going to get into it because it's too long, but he's a world champion arm wrestler, and he he won. He won the world championship like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was like it was the first time somebody had a world championship on left arm and on right arm, and like he like gave it his all. It was a grueling match. He tried so hard. People underestimated him, and then at the end, the reporter goes, he goes, "Hey Devin, man, like this was a great journey, what have you, like." What's next for you, you know what I mean, like that this is an incredible feat, but like what are you going to do next? And he goes, look, like before I start talking about like what's next, I really want to let me be here in this moment, right? This I want to feel what I'm feeling right now for a while, because in life you can have so many things. You can have
Yeah.
material wealth, right? Material wealth, properties. You could have so many material things, right? But it's the feelings that those things give you that make you want to live. You know, we're all chasing this incredible feeling of belonging, of purpose. And he's like, right now, this is a feeling that I'm never gonna forget. And bro,
Mm-hmm.
when he said that, I was like, fucking wow.
Yeah.
That's what I think we could do that. I think we could help people get that special feeling. Not give it to them, but help them get the motivation they need to go fucking pursue that feeling. Does that make
Yeah,
sense? That,
no,
that,
it does
that,
because
that-
like we were saying before with the whole of starting at step 1, getting to step 10. Like, you know, the feeling of getting straight to step 10 is always going to be less than the feeling of going from 1, 2, 3 all the way to 10. Like that's 100% the same thing. Like that guy probably worked his ass off years and years and years and years of training, like trying to get to that point, and that was his goal. Like that was his end game. Like that was what he wanted to achieve, and he achieved it. And as he achieved it, he appreciated it because he worked so hard for it. And like, again, it's the same. Like people that just get handed things in life, they don't learn that. You know, they don't feel it as strongly as people who work for it. And I really, really, really think you just got to take that first little push to actually try to get to it. So like, some people can't even fucking turn around to put their foot on the step. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
that might be the thing that people need.
I this is an idea. I wish I had a fucking pen. I'm sorry, I don't have a pen, but I wanna make sure that I jot this down, or it'll be on the stream. But that's a good idea to talk about in any one of the streams, or maybe bring somebody on and
Perfect
talk about.
topic,
But
yeah.
but but if you were to ask somebody, most people, if you were to ask, tell me a story about something that you did in your life that you thought forever that you couldn't do, like
Hmm.
something that you did that you just like, you thought about it for so long, and like you psyched yourself out, and then finally something triggered you enough to go out and do it, and then when you finally fucking did it, you were like, holy shit, I could have done this the whole time.
Yeah, why did it take me so long to get off the couch and actually go and do this shit? Dude,
But
I
that's
still
an
feel
important
that.
topic.
I still
Yeah.
feel that all the time. Here's something. Like, so I went to the gym for the first time yesterday in 10 months, right?
What?
Yeah.
Are you sore? You seem fine.
Dude, my chest is killing me. I went to the gym for the first time in 10 months. I used to go to the gym every day, right? Like I
Uh,
said, I'm an all or nothing kind of person. But I fell in, like, you know, after all the pandemic stuff and all the lockdowns and all this kind of stuff, I wasn't able to go. Like I wasn't, like, they wouldn't let us go. So I broke my routine because, you know, I was forced to break my routine. And, you know, that's another topic. But you know what I mean? Like, so basically breaking my routine broke my focus, I feel. So
uh,
like I said prior, like probably like an hour ago, I said, you know, when people get up in the morning, they have their coffee and they go to the gym for an hour every single day. It puts them in a mood for the day, you know. And a person that just rolls out of bed, you know, puts their t-shirt on and gets in the car and drives to work, you know, they might not be in the same headspace as the person that's just gotten out of bed and had a coffee and gone to the gym for an hour, because they've got those endorphins rushing. You know, they've got a different outlook to that other person that could be working the exact same job right next to them. So like,
right.
I think, you know, you've just got to take the step to do it again. So like, going to the gym yesterday for the first time in 10 months made me realize, oh wait, like I can just pick up where I left off, really. Like I've put on like 11 kilos, you know. I was turning it into a positive somehow, because like, yeah, I put on 11 kilos, but now I've got a goal, you know. Before I was
Right.
like steady weight, steady body mass, you know, everything was kind of like nothing changes because you're doing the same workouts every day and you've got a routine, and, you know, but breaking my routine for so long and actually getting back into my routine is actually, it's a brand new thing now. You know what I mean? So something that was mundane and boring and the same shit over and over again, just by taking time, you know, 10 months, whatever, being lazy, not going, and now going again, is actually motivating me to go more, right? Because I'm like,
Yes. Yes.
now it means something completely different to what it did before. So before it was just whatever, and now it's something new, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm like, I got a goal now. I could lose weight. I could tone up. I could even turn that weight into something else. Like, I could do anything with
Bro,
this. New
the,
goals,
that,
you know? But I just did it.
the,
You had to take the step
the,
out of bed, you know? Go.
yes. So look. So along those lines, that goes back to one of my favorite sayings that I've, said to my brothers, my cousins, my friends over the years. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I want people to really think about that. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's fucking like it's possible. It's literally how like going to the gym. Like let's stick with that, right? Get comfortable with that pain. Get comfortable with wanting to fucking vomit because you just ran 15 minutes on the treadmill and now you're putting up, 200 pounds. The glory, right? The beauty, all right, doesn't come without the ugly. Doesn't come without the pain. Like it's just and that's in everything. Like one of my friends, so let's say he's like, dude, like you blew my mind the day the day you taught that to me because I used to always like wonder like why is this so hard? Is it supposed to? Yeah, of course it's supposed to be that fucking hard. The more something means to you, the harder it feels because every letdown hurts more. You know
Correct.
what I mean? So like that's a whole I could fucking go down that
Another
like
topic.
for forever. But
Well, this.
people need to hear this though. You know what I mean?
Well, no, you can relate it. So let's relate it to streaming, right? You can relate it to streaming as well, right? So, like, say every single day you stream at the same time, right? It's a consistent schedule. People like it. 8 o'clock every day. I do it all the time, right? But every now and again, I'll stream at fucking 3 in the morning. I might get like a couple of people in. Like right now, we're doing a podcast. I started at 11 p.m., right? I don't know to start at 11 p.m., right? Obviously, I'm just trying to fit in with your time zone as well. But what I'm saying is don't be afraid to try something different just for doing it different. It doesn't have to like be the most successful thing in the day. You know what I mean? Like if you every day you stream at 8 and you get 30 fucking people in your chat, that's great. Try streaming at 10 a.m. You know what I mean? You don't know what's going to happen. You might get one person. You might get 50. Just give it a go. You don't actually know what's going to happen. But if you change your routine, it actually might give you a different perspective. So, instead of, you, again, I'm relating it to streaming so you guys like sort of understand what I'm saying. So you stream from 8 till 1 and then you go to bed. 8 till 1, you go to bed. 8 till 1, you go to bed. How about you stream from 10 till 2 and then go to the gym? How about you stream from 10 till 2 and go in and grab a coffee or go out with your friends? And then all of a sudden, when it comes to 8 o'clock, you're like, shit, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? But you've already streamed, right? So you're like, well, I've already achieved what I was wanting to achieve today. Now I've got all this extra time to do other things. And then you can start something new. So then if you could alternate that, you could do that different days. Like just if you change your routine, it becomes more exciting. So like if you just keep something the same every single day, the 9 to 5, the 9 to 5, the 9 to 5, right? If you have the opportunity to do like the fucking 5 to 9, do it. Why not? Change it up, keep it more interesting. Because if you just do the same thing over and over and over and over again, you're a fucking robot. You'll turn into a robot, and nothing will excite you. But if you change it up every now and again and just fuck with it like completely, and just make a mess of it, and just like do that, sometimes it'll motivate you and change your perspective on things that you wouldn't have had if you didn't do that. That's what I find anyway.
The people have to figure out. They got to figure out what works for them. There are certain parts of life that do need kind of like consistency and structure, right? But like the areas of your life where you apply consistency and structure, if it's failing, think about what Adam just said. Like the gym is the perfect example, dude, because for me, there came a point when I was younger where like I felt that I was like bored. I was like, yeah, it sucks, man. Like fucking the same thing. I know that I want my body to look like this, but God, to do this fucking shit every day. And like and then when I started doing CrossFit, somebody told me about CrossFit, and I immediately thought, you know what? Let me like I know what I'm feeling, and I know this isn't good. I know that I'm gonna end up fucking never working out again if I don't change something. But now I don't do CrossFit anymore because of my lower back, but the philosophy of doing a different exercise for the same body part all the time, like I still work out in that fashion. So every day when I go to the gym, I am doing something completely different. But guess what? I'm still working out the muscle. I'm still losing the weight now. I'm getting leaner. Um But for me in my brain, I feel more excited now because it's like, it's something new every day, right?
Yeah.
And it keeps me wanting to go. So that's again, like we said, man, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, try new things, and just fucking like just do it. I want to work on that because you and I agree that sometimes like it's you got try it, take that step. But I
Hmm.
really, 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 really want to try and figure out if there's a way to connect with somebody to influence them to take that step a little bit quicker outside of just finding out what really motivates them because sure that'll work with one person, right? Like if it was you, hypothetically speaking, and I had the opportunity to speak with you, of course I could get there, right? Because it's a matter of me probing and asking the right questions to find out what's really important to you. But
Yeah.
you can't scale that though, you know what I mean? Like that's not going to scale across hundreds of thousands of people, globally. So there's got to be a way to help influence that step this is something I'm like thinking
No,
out
no,
loud here.
you're bouncing off. I understand. I look, like I said, like again, we will practice what we preach. You know,
Yeah.
start small. Start with a goal in mind, like a bigger goal in mind, but just start at step one. You know, start small.
Oh my God. Like you're fucking right. Adam
Mm-hmm.
and I are literally practicing what we preach right now,
This is
live in front
step
of
one
all of you
right here.
guys. We had an idea. We realized that there's alignment there. You guys all heard us throw these ideas like they were going back and forth. But what did we finish with though? We finished with a plan of action
Correct.
that we're gonna take and move forward. So we're literally practicing what we preach here live. It's gonna be recorded. It's gonna be on YouTube. People are gonna see it. But no, but for real though, think about this, right?
Oh yeah.
Imagine if it turns out the way that we wanted to, right? And 12 months from now, there's like a gargantuous following of people who are moved. And we've gone in a variety of different. We've grown ourselves, right? Because that's why we do it too. Because we feel good doing it. And then nobody could say it was handed. Nobody could say, "Oh, you got lucky." It started with a fucking idea. It started with an idea, and then you put together a plan of action and you do it. This is a
Correct.
perfect. This is a great example that people can learn from.
Yeah, and this is why I say if anybody, if anybody has any ideas and if anybody has any direction on something and they don't know if it's the right thing to do, talk it out with someone. Talk it out with someone. Like the best ideas come from talking to other people about. It doesn't matter whether they have an idea on the topic or not. Just talk with someone about it, right? And then that's why we always both say DMs, 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 DM people, talk to people on the phone. Talk about things.
Mhm.
Whatever it might be. No, nothing like big or small doesn't fucking matter. Like, but if you have an idea and you need to bounce it off someone, just fucking ask. Because it might be the difference between you doing that idea and it failing miserably because you didn't think it through correctly, or doing that idea and it works perfectly because you talked to someone about it for like 10 minutes and all of a sudden you're like, dude, just talking to you right now, I've just realized that was stupid. And like, I have to go like 5 increments to the left, and all of a sudden it's a brilliant idea. But if I did that just now, it would probably fail. Like, so just having that conversation with someone could be the difference between success and failure. And I truly believe that. I do it every day. Every day. Like I said, my dad gets the shits. He's like, "Can you stop calling me?" Like, honestly, he's like, I'm retired. I don't want to fucking like. It's like, Dad, I got an idea. I got an idea. Like, you have
You,
so many
you,
fucking ideas. Like, like,
but you know what though? So the we could do this in our in discords or whatever, but we can give people that outlet too.
hmm,
You know, like because you were just talking about how getting ideas from people, and I agree. I think that's crucial to really ensuring that the things discussed hit home. Uh, well, I was gonna do this with just about podcasts in general, but have a section in Discord just for that, so that people could share ideas. Now, let me ask you this though: do you think that is there a way to make it private? Like, for example, if somebody wants to share an idea with us,
mm-hmm,
we want to direct them to that part of Discord, where it says
yep.
podcast, what have you. Is there a way where they can share their idea and then before they hit send, they can decide to make it private or public, or is that not a feature?
So if you can select the people that are in the channel, like directly, like you can select them by hand or whatever. You can do that. You can send them to that channel via invite, that directly to that text channel, or you can get, like, say they sent it to you personally in private, and then you talk to them about it and say, let's post it for other people to have their thoughts on. That's the other way you do it. Like, it's, you can select as many or as little people as you want to view any channel on Discord, right? So, I mean, it's up to your discretion to what you want to do with that. Like, I have plenty of different chats for different groups of people. Like, you know, and some people will see them, some people won't. But I think what you're trying to get at is you're trying to have people take it seriously.
Well, no, I want to encourage them to do it because there might be somebody who's like, Adam, man, like I've been struggling with this one thing, but I really feel like the things that you guys talk about could help me get there. I'm a little ashamed of it, you know. Um, but you know what? But you're right though. You said something that made sense. Nobody should be ashamed of anything because that's not what this community is about. This
No.
community is about openness and it's about love and care. So you said something that I agree with. I would probably encourage somebody to have the courage to maybe just put a little trust in the community and because there might be somebody else with that same concern
Yeah. Well,
that they're now helping.
Well, this is always like, this community does this already. Like the community and the Discord and whatever it might be. I see people post, like, see. Okay, here's an example. And this has got me going on a different train of thought. I see people posting self promotion every day, right? Every single day.
Mhm.
Usually very similar people, right? And that's fine. That's what it's there for. But I see the same people who click on every link and go say hello in those people's chats, in everybody else's chats, right? The same people. So, like, I'm not going to name names because, I don't think that's appropriate. But basically what I'm saying is that every single time someone posts in that self-promo section, the same people click on those links and go and say hello. The same people. It might not be necessarily the people that are doing the self-promos, but there's the same people every single day in the community that click on those links every single day and go support everyone, right? That's what this community is all about. And that's what I've tried to promote from the start, because, like, as soon as I realized what this could be, I changed my tact, right? I started streaming, and when I was streaming, I was just like, I was chatting to random people, whatever. Like,
Mhm.
having a good time playing games. And in the meantime, every now and again, I have someone come in and I say hello. Like Akai just did, right? And every now and
Right.
again, people come in and say hello, and I'm like, oh, hey, man, what's up? How's your day? Like, yeah, cool. That's the thing. And then and then as soon as I started getting like maybe 10 or more people in my chat, and it was the same people every single day, I was like, hold on a second. I was like, this is not just like random people coming in my chat now. This is a whole bunch of people that come in here and talk to each other every single day. And I thought to myself, I
Right.
was like, it's like I refer to it as like IRL, right? It's like
Uh-huh.
community center, right? People
Right.
people go to a community center once a week for a fundraiser or a raffle, or have a drink, or whatever it might be, have dinner, and they all come and they talk to each other, and then I'll see you next Wednesday. You know what I mean? See you next
Yeah.
Wednesday. I see these people every single day, all the same names, every single day in my chat. And I'm like, that's it. A light bulb just fucking flicks on in my head. And I'm like, it's not my channel anymore.
Right.
I
Right.
said to myself, I was like, this isn't my channel anymore. This is their channel. It's like, this is it. And so I said to myself, I'm going to rebrand this. So I said, this is now the Zilla patch, right? I don't know how I came
Yeah.
up with that shit, by the way. Honestly, it just came to me one day. I was just thinking to
I
myself.
like it.
And I was like, okay, it was rugged at Zilla. And then I must have seen an ad for like Cabbage Patch Kids or something. I don't know what it was, but there's some weird combination of shit going through my head. God knows what it's like in there. I wouldn't want to live there. And it was the same to me. I'm like, it's the Zilla patch. I'm like, so then I'm like, how do I brand this? I'm just like, oh, it's Zilla. It's a dinosaur. It's fucking cool, right? I was thinking to myself, like, okay, that's something to navigate around. And then I said, okay, well, everything from now on, I'm going to ask the Zilla patch what they want, right? Because I'm like, if I just come up with the idea, it's not the Zilla patch, it's Rugged at Zilla's channel, right? But if I just ask the community, because the community, they'll tell me, right? Because they talk to me every day. I was like, hey guys, what do you want? You know, like, what do you want for this channel? Because like, this is your channel now. Like, this is not my channel anymore. I just run it. But you guys are the fuel that runs the car. So like, if you tell me what you want, and I'll make it happen. And just like, I don't know what it was. Just one day that kind of like came to me, and I was like, this makes more sense than I realized. And as soon as I put it out there saying, hey, every single other person in this chat or every single other person in this community, it's your turn. You know, I'm gonna stop with my idea train because my idea train can go on forever. But I want you guys to tell me what you want and what you want to see on this channel. And as soon as I started doing that, this channel grew like you wouldn't believe. And like, it was just a change of perspective. That's all it was. Do you know what I mean?
You being, you having that role, right? Where you have the 3,000, Twitch followers and these viewers and these people coming to you. That doesn't happen by accident. I am a fraction of your size, but I do have aspirations to grow and grow. But that doesn't happen by accident. And the reason I'm saying that is because the I look at it the same way. Like the way you just described, like when you were like, I realized that this isn't really my channel anymore. This is ours. It's really kind of theirs. I feel the same way. I feel like I'm just a mouthpiece. I'm a mouthpiece for the folks that want to come here and support me and listen and be a part of this. I'm simply saying, I'm giving them a voice. I'm giving them feedback. We're exchanging love and care, and I don't take that for granted. I know, and I've heard you say this before too. On previous streams, like, you're aware of the amount of responsibility that comes with having a community like this.
Yeah.
And that's why you know, we're here. That's why, you invited me on that first podcast. We had this second one. That's why we spitfired. And that's why I think, I'm not going to speak for Adam, but I'm going to say that's why I, I, I'm pretty excited about how this organically manifested into this idea that we got. Because honestly, I've always kind of had it in the back of my mind of, like, I feel like there's something that we could do greater than the both of us.
Just didn't know how to implicate it. I'm sure that we'll change it multiple times, based on conversations we have. Like the next time we do this, we'll probably have another idea and we'll probably implement that instead. Like, you know what I mean? Like it'll just continue on and on and on until it grows into something that we just don't know what even happened. But that's just the way it is. Like that's the way it's always been. And this is the same reason, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. This is the same reason why, after everything that's happened, like in the last couple of days, and the reason why we're on a different platform, after everything that happened, the reason I was so angry and so upset about all of it, not just because it's a ridiculous thing that happened and it's very, very agitating, but the reason I was so upset is because I felt like I let you guys down. I really felt like that because I was like, now that I said, how are they going to come together and say hello now? Like how is Cody and how is Akai and Koshi and Yumi and Wadey and all these people going to come into the chat every day and actually talk to each other? And I said to myself, just like, and this all went through my head. I was a fucking mess. I was crying. I was devastated, man. Like I was proper devastated to the point where I was literally like, it's all hopeless. Like I was so sad. But as soon as like I drained the poison from my veins, so to speak, I had a clear perspective on it. I was like, you know what? I said, it's the internet. All right. It's bigger than one website. Okay. It's the internet. And if these people are really that motivated every single day to come into a chat and talk to each other, why can't it be anywhere else? Like, why can't it be on another platform? Why can't it be, in Discord, on YouTube, on Trovo, on fucking, any other platform? Why can't it just be on Instagram? I don't care. Like, I just want to do what I do, right? Bring you all together and have you talk to each other. Because that's this, I created a space. I created a community. I've created something bigger than myself, and I felt like it really made me mad and sad because like I was like, I let you guys down, but I didn't, because at the end of the day, we created something really special and it'll always live on. It doesn't matter where we go, it doesn't matter what we do. And so that's why I said to myself, look, you have like 8 other platforms you could grow. You've already started growing half of them. Like all you have to do is extend on that now it's actually a blessing in disguise because now I have more time to focus on other platforms that I've been wanting to grow forever, right? And my priorities in my head have changed. And again, I mean, not to put a wrap on it, but like, this is what we just talked about. Like, it's just like I said with the gym thing, like, going back for the first time over 10 months and this new thing, this is a new thing now. I'm excited. I'm invigorated by it. Like, I'm keen to just explore all these opportunities. Like, I've streamed on 3 or 4 different platforms in the last week. It's fucking awesome. And every single, it's always the usual suspects. Every single person's like, okay, he's on this platform. Let's go watch. So it's not about starting again. It's not about thinking, oh, it's the end of the world. It's not. It's the start of the world. It's the start of something else. And now, this will never happen again, okay? Because even if we get kicked off every other fucking platform, I will find a fucking way. I will find a way to bring everyone together. I don't care where it's going to be. It could be on TikTok fucking live for all I care. I'm going to make it happen for every single person because I'm responsible for that now, And it's a big responsibility. And I realize that. And it's the same thing that's motivated me to stop drinking. Like, the same reason. Because this is something that are really important to me. And it becomes, like, part of my life. And it motivates me to get out of bed. And, like, I use that. And I'm going to use that as motivation to make myself better too. So
That's it, brother.
It's all about perspective. And it's all about the way, yeah, it's not just responsibility. It's like, it's life. It's my life, right? And I made it my life because I care so much about it. It's like something we grew from zero, like, same with anything in life. Start from scratch, I didn't become a mechanic in a day. Like, I didn't start a business in a day. Things take time.
Dude, it's I'm telling you, I'm gonna use this story. I'm gonna use this story in many examples going forward because you've already talked about all the different reasons why it needed to happen. All right. But one of the most important things, I think, one of the most important lessons it taught is I think it reminded you that the people that come to you really, really love you and really, really like believe in you so much that they'll follow you, anywhere. That's powerful. But I think it also reminded you of, hey man, don't forget how we got here. We got here by being dynamic and not being complacent, which is a whole nother subject that I'm not gonna get into. We're not gonna get into right now, but look at what it caused. Who knows when you and I would have followed up with one another again? You know what I mean? Who knows? And it's not because we don't care. It's just because we're human. We're human. So life gets us busy, and 6 months pass without us even knowing it. Doesn't mean we care less or anything like that about each other. Adam and I have the highest level of respect for, like, believe me, when we talk off stream, Adam and I, we're the same way. We just have a very high level of respect for one another. But it took this for us to kind of begin speaking more regularly again, and reminding each other about, like, why we do this.
Right, well, again, it's priorities. It's perspective. Like, sometimes you might, like, this is the same reason why they put blinders on horses when they run down the track. They have an objective. Do you know what I mean? Their objective is to get to the finish line as fast as humanly possible. But they miss everything along the way because either, it's distracting or it's scary. You know what I mean? So they're all just running. They see that finish line. They see that finish line. That's all they see. When they go across that finish line, all of a sudden, the rest of everything comes into perspective, and they're like, "Oh shit, I missed all that stuff like along the way, and I can't go back now." Well, you can, because you just have to turn the fuck around. Like, it's not. Nothing's stopping you from going back and fixing or doing or whatever it might be, whatever you've missed. Like, you're the only person that's stopping that, right? Unless it's like existential circumstance, like, whatever that might be, like in life. But if you still have the opportunity to do things that you wanted to do or that you wish you could have done, and you still have a slight opportunity to do that, you should just try and do it. What is stopping you? You say, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. Well, that's just because you prioritize other things over different things, right? People, people who don't like, say again, the gym thing's a great example. A lot of people don't go to the gym. I don't have time. It's the oldest fucking thing I've ever heard in the book. I say it all the time. I don't have time. I can make time. You can always make time. Like, even if it's late, sacrifice an hour's sleep and go to the gym. Like, but I need 7 hours sleep. All right, sacrifice an hour of work. Oh, but I need the money. All right, sacrifice your 10 minutes at the coffee shop in the morning. I don't care. Like, just figure it out. You're all adults. You're all adults and you're all responsible for your own actions. And your perspective on things is the reason you do things or don't do things, and prioritize the things that are most important to you. Like, if the most important thing to you every day is to play 6 hours of fucking Warzone, that's what you'll do. You know what I mean? You could play 3 hours of Warzone and do like 3 hours of bookwork. Don't want to? Don't do it. I don't care. You're just doing 6 hours of Warzone. That makes you happy? You do that. But if I then say, hey man, we should go to the gym, I don't have time for that, you fucking do. Play 5 hours of Warzone, all right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just priorities. That's all it is.
So the I'm gonna say, all right, this will be the last time in the stream I say this, I promise. But this is another idea that could be a whole nother topic in and of itself. But it's because you made me think about it with what you just said. There's something called the pain pleasure principle, right?
Right.
Well, because you're talking about priorities, right? So let's stay along those examples, right? So if you have 6 hours, if you only have 6 hours, to free, right, every single day, right? And for whatever reason, whether it's instant gratification, whether it's hang out with your friends, what have you, you invest those 6 hours in playing Warzone every day. Okay. But then you go back and you complain about, fuck, man, I gained like 25 pounds, man. I'm sluggish in the morning because I'm not eating right. It's just, dude, but like, man, I have so much fun for those 6 hours, right? There's the pain pleasure principle. By the way, it's something that everybody, in my opinion, should fucking learn and get behind, because it'll also change your life. What that forces you to do is it forces you to really think about what it is that's going to make you happy. What is it that's, because we're all chasing pleasure. We want to feel pleasure. We want to feel happiness, right? That's why you'll play Warzone for 6 hours, because you'll for those 6 hours you'll feel pleasure. However, what you're not doing is you're not thinking about tomorrow. You're not thinking about long term. It's painful to invest all 6 hours into just Warzone, because you're going to gain the weight. You're going to get sluggish. You're going to lose energy, and eventually that's going to impact how much you really enjoy Warzone. So that's why I said, believe me, it's literally a subject you can dive into the rabbit hole for fucking 6 hours. But people can train. I did this. I had to do this. I had to train myself to realize, like, dude, but that's what made it easy for me to prioritize, because I thought about, like, okay, when I do something, I always think about the investment. I think about what it's going to take me away from, and then I have to make a decision as to whether the investment and the sacrifice
Is worth the
makes
time.
sense. Right. Is it worth it? Am I going to get the pleasure and satisfaction that I need? Because I'm at the point in my life where, instant gratification, having a good time for now, fucking go eat a what. Like, that's peanuts for me. But it took me so much to get to that point. And I know most people, all right, I'm not no finger pointing, but I know most people kind of pretend to have that, like, whatever, man. I just fucking, it is what it is, man. I have a good time. I like to make people laugh and feel good. Like, dude, no, you're not. That's easy. You're saying that because it's fucking easy. It's hard to actually make sacrifices and deprive yourself of gratification for a longer, more broader pleasure principle. That's fucking hard. That's like, in my opinion, that's what, but the rewards are so much greater. That's the thing,
Exactly
so
right.
anyway, like I said, dude, like that, the there's an easier way to articulate that so that people don't get intimidated by that thought process, because I get it. I know that when you hear that, you're like, I'm not gonna do what you did, Ken. I'm not gonna fucking read 100 books and fucking, go through all these outrageous experiences. I'll never be that. You don't have to. That's what, like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say, Adam? Like,
You're basically saying, like, well, it's priorities. Like, you wanted to read those books. Do you know what I mean? Like, you wanted to read those books because you had a goal in mind by reading them, right? There was an end game for that. You know, you thought if I read 100 books, I have, you know, you thought of it as adding to knowledge and adding to a benefit of whatever goal you had in mind at the time you were reading them. You didn't read them because, you know, you thought they were good for you. Or you didn't read them because you're like, oh, I should probably read this, I guess. Like, no, you read them because you wanted to read them because they had a goal for you. And you ticked them all off and you did it and you achieved that goal, right? I think people, like, it doesn't have to be as extravagant as that, right? But it starts with the first book. You know, like, if you never picked up the first book, you're not reading any books. You know what I mean? Like, just pick up, you got to pick up just read the first fucking word you've tried to read it, right? You don't have to, you know, you read 10,000 words. Okay, just read 100 words. You know what? I can guarantee you probably read 500 words after that. And then you could just probably read the whole book. You know, like, it's just you have to just start in order to do anything.
This, I promise you guys on stream, for those of you that are still hanging in there with this will be my last quote.
All right.
All right. I mean, I don't promise it, but I'm going to try to promise it. What you just made me think of, Adam, is I think it's the Henry Ford. Now, guys, don't Google me. Fucking keep me honest in this one. It's along these lines, but I believe it was Henry Ford or one of these you know, car guys who it took them. It was like 1,000 or 2,000 times to create the V8 engine. Right? Like they kept failing, you know. I think it was 3,000 for some reason, but let's just, for argument's sake, let's just say it was 3,000. It took them 3,000 different attempts at creating the V8 so that it was functioning, you know, before they finally got it and it was effective. And then when they were, you know, when there was the book being written about them, and they were asked like what the like how the fuck do you fail like that many times? And he's like, because I didn't fail, you know, that many times. I didn't fail 3,000 times to get, you know, to get to the final solution. I just found 2,999 ways how not to do it.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that is so fucking genius. Like, that's like, but see, the thing is though, when somebody says something like that, like, I don't just hear it and I'm like, oh, that's clever. Like, I think about it, like, because, like, what are we? We're all beliefs, right? That's what motivates us. Whether it's a religion, whether it's a strategy, whether it's an outlook on life.
Yeah.
So do that. Like, think about these things, and you'll. Man, I'm telling you, Adam. That's why I'm excited about doing this, is because I know what that's like. I know what that's like when somebody lives a whole life, whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, 50s, what have you. You live your whole life, and then you hear something, right? Somebody says something, you hear it, you start listening, and then something just switches. Something switches where and you start realizing that you've had blinders on this whole time.
It's the Matrix
moment. You weren't
moment.
Seeing things. Yeah,
it's the Matrix moment. It happens. It happens in all types of situations. It happens in relationships, right? The Matrix moment. It's real. I'm telling you. If you go, if anyone in the chat, and a lot of people, I can almost guarantee that someone in this chat knows this. If you go through a relationship, right, and it's terrible, right? You go through a relationship and it's terrible, and it affects you in a deep way. Like, it affects you in an emotionally, like, you know, unstable way, to the point where it ruins you, right? We've all been in those relationships, right? We've all been in there. The next relationship you have, you know, you look at all those things, right? You look at all the things that you missed because you didn't have that experience prior, right? That's when you entered the Matrix, right? You took that red pill after you had that relationship. That red pill just fell in your drink, and you drank it, right? And then all of a sudden, your perspective on things changes, right? That's like just one example of that. Like, you're in business with something and you're doing something, and all of a sudden it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out again. It doesn't work out again. And then you realize this is the issue, or this is the issue, and you work on it, and finally you get it right. That's the Matrix moment. That's it's the same thing for everything in life. You can apply that in every single situation in your life. Everything. When it comes to interests, when it comes to debate, when it comes to politics, when it comes to family, when it comes to friends. You know, you have a bad friend. This person's always been a bad friend. You've never realized that you've always helped this person through everything. But then you realize this person's a user. You know, this person's using me. This person's been using me for years. That's the Matrix moment. You just realize that on your own terms. You're like, I'm gonna cut this person out. Like, it could be the opposite. It could be the opposite. This person's cared about me forever. This person's always been there for me, and I never even noticed. Right? All of a sudden, you notice. That's the Matrix moment there too. It's just, you can apply it to anything in life, everything.
I love that.
Dude, I'm a token that, eh? Fucking don't steal it.
Dude, we can make that.
I'm gonna TM it.
That could be like the resident term of the podcast, if you will.
It's the name of my first book.
The Matrix moment. I love it.
Yeah,
dude. I you know, this was a lot of fun, man. This was man. You know, it's funny. It's always more than I expected. Like, you know, I don't really go set too many expectations, but I do expect to like have a good time and like learn, you know, some powerful stuff. But it's the both times it's always been a little bit more powerful than I really thought it was going to be. Um, and I want to commend you for, you know, for addressing, you know, your community. You know, you said your piece. You articulated very well what it you know, what the situation meant to you and how you felt. But I also think you displayed and you practiced what you've always preached to your community about what to do in the face of adversity.
yeah,
You know what I mean? You allowed yourself to feel the pain, all right? You you held yourself accountable, okay? And you turned what most people would consider a setback into an array of new opportunities. That's fucking amazing.
yeah.
Very few people in this world can do that, but a lot of people want to learn. And I think that's where you and I are going to really be able to make a difference.
It's gonna be a good time. I mean, look, if we can talk for 3 hours straight, which is what we just did. If we can talk for 3 hours, right? And come up with like 50 additional topics that could potentially be all 3 hours long. There is no missed opportunity in any of it. Like that is just us in a nutshell, isn't it? But I love it.
Yeah.
I love every second of it. I really do.
I think the entire community would agree that that's just us. I mean, by the way, like, you know, we're like, there's no, you know, there's no bragging rights, none of that whatsoever. When I see people write you know, two legends or all that stuff about Adam and I like chit chat, and like it means a lot to me. I really appreciate that. I don't take that for granted. I really appreciate that support.
Yeah, it's humbling
And
too. Like,
it's incredibly humbling. You know, because it's always been just us just being ourselves. So you know, I'm kind of excited to see how it's received, you know, us taking it a little bit further. So yeah, you know, and Adam, we'll you know, we'll do all that stuff.
yeah,
After the stream, we'll chat and shit, and we'll, you know,
100%.
we'll talk about how to, how to tell everybody about it or whatever. But
Yeah.
dude, I had so much fun. This was like, you know, like
Oh man,
just mind blowing in a lot of different ways. But
it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. Always.
was there anything left? I know we've been going for like ever, so but I want to make sure if there was anything left that you wanted to ask me or that you feel like we should touch on, or
I think we've covered a lot, and a lot of things. Obviously, I think a lot of people are going to take a lot of positive things away from this. A lot of things that they might be able to implicate tomorrow, or you know, think about, you know, over the day or over the night, whatever it might be. That's all we ever ask, right? Is it just take the ideas that we post and like just think about them. You know what I mean? You don't have to implement them like tomorrow. You don't. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. You don't have to implement them ever. But if you just take them and just think about them, right? Just think about them. Think about what we talked about. Think about what's been said, and you know, if it benefits you in even the 1%, that's good. That's a good step in the right direction. So like, it doesn't have to be life changing every single, like, you know, again, it's the instant gratification thing. We're not here to change your life. All right. We're not here to like, you know, set you on a motion to be a billionaire. Like that's not the point. The point is that if anybody is having any sort of issue or hard time and they can relate to any of the things that we've talked about, we've done well, you know? And that's all that matters. We're just talking about things that we're passionate about, and we're talking about things we believe in. So and you can tell that just from the way we talk about it. Like, you know, we just do this for like, we're just trying to help the community. Like, you know, we're taking what we would normally talk about offline and just putting it into an online discussion so that people might benefit from it externally. That's all it is. And I think, you know, continuing to do it in like a, you know, a bi-weekly or weekly thing, I'm so keen. I'm so keen. And I think the more we get more people involved, I think it would be a benefit to a lot. Like, you know,
yeah. We'll dude, my like you can't see it. Nobody can, but inside this brain right now, there's a lot of
moving.
a lot of like rattling all the different
Oh, mate.
you know, possibilities. But you know, I think, you know, we both agree that's why we do this. We do this because, you know, our ability to have that freedom to be creative, you know, which again, another freaking subject, creativity. But dude, thank you. This thank you so much, dude. Thank you for bringing me into this community. I know that it was 2 years ago or however long ago it was that you came in on a raid. I think it was it Blitty who asked you to raid me, or somebody
it was.
asked you to
Because
raid?
he played games with you the day before, and he was like, "You should raid this guy." I was like,
Yeah,
yeah.
You know, I owe Blitty a lot of respect. Yeah, and I you know, I do. I give Blitty a lot of love. Because he deserves it. He's a good guy, and he had introduced me to, you know, to Rugged at Zilla. Uh, but like those guys, you know, you in the community from the start always welcomed me in. You know, you gave me the benefit of the doubt, because I'm a firm believer that you kind of got to earn that. You know what I mean? But you guys, you did that. You welcomed me in. I got to know so many people. There, a lot of the people that support me and want to hear, you know, or watch video games or what have you, come from that.
Yeah.
And I am eternally grateful for that. I really do. I feel gratitude towards that. And that's why whenever I support in any kind of way you in the channel, like I do that, like it makes me feel good, because I know that, you know, because I'm doing it for somebody who's a good person and somebody who's helped me personally. So um you know, I just want to say that, man. I want to say, like, yeah, I don't forget about the origins. I don't forget
No.
about the beginning, and about, you know, about you being loyal there.
No,
So
I agree. I remember every single person and where I met them, every single one, and they're all there for a reason, and they're all, you know, contributing in their own individual way. And it's a very cool thing. It's a very cool thing.
hell yeah.
Like, you know, this is using the internet to its best ability, really. Like, you know, it can be used in some weird fucking ways, but this is a good way to do it. You know.
Yeah. So with that, man, I'll you know, I'll send off. I'll say goodbye. You're probably gonna stick around with your chats to say your own goodbye, or do we do it at the same time? I don't remember.
Yeah, no, I'll jump off and I'll talk to them for another 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll head off. But yeah, I appreciate you, man, and I appreciate everything you do and everything we talk about, and I can't wait for the future of whatever we decide.
Bro, me too, man. Dude, it's been a true pleasure and honor, my brother. Hey, be good. We'll catch up. You know, we'll catch up later on, and we'll, you know, we'll
We
talk
will,
about the
brother.
next step, brother. All right, man. Be good, dude.
See you,
Thanks
dude.
for everything. Bye,
Bye.
guys. Bye, everybody.